This is the top student at the school, the most intelligent one. While the popular boys hang out with all the girls, Jay is focusing on using his mind. But even students who just study still have girls who are interested in them. This girl can't stop looking at the student council president. One day, the guy who always studied and never caused trouble came to school injured. Everyone was shocked. No one at school could figure out why. Jay is a student who could be first place in the country. He always follows the rules, but then one day everything was different. The teacher brought the new student who transferred from the United States to the class. She is the principal's granddaughter, so everybody has to treat her well. When the blonde girl saw Jay in the classroom, she did not wait and kissed him in front of everyone. That moment stunned everyone, especially the girl who always liked Jay. Just look, even the principal was watching his granddaughter's first day from outside the window. The main character did not understand what was happening. He had never seen this girl before in his life. But the girl Shell just turned to the boy beside her and said, "You there, normal boy, I want to take your seat." Of course, the boy did not turn down her polite request. Later, students who didn't even talk to Jay went around him, asking how long he had been dating a perfect girl. The only unfortunate person was that girl, but to understand why, let's go back a few days. I promise you will enjoy this story. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for my efforts. This boy here is called Jay. Even though he lives close to the school, he prefers to ride his old bike. It's a simple reason: school is dull, so he wants at least a little excitement in the morning. On his way, he sees everything as a challenge, so Jay rides over it all like he expects Red Bull to notice him. Workers are startled, and couples who are kissing are startled as well. When Jay gets to the steep slope that is unsafe even on foot, he isn't scared. He goes down as fast as possible, and at the bottom, he uses special moves to stop the bicycle. All the popular students at school saw this happen for the first time, and none of them liked seeing someone gain more attention than them. Some enjoyed it, but others decided to teach this guy a lesson after school. The next school day started, and everyone around Jay was complaining about different things. Jay only cared about his studies and didn't pay attention to anything else. While Jay was thinking about how little energy he had, Mia was looking at him nearby. Mia was caught off guard when her friend asked what was on her mind. Her friend asked if Mia was studying a lot for the tests coming soon. Mia smiled and said that she was only studying a bit at a time. Her friend said she should study more if she didn't want to do badly on the exams. Her friend thought Mia should study, but not make it her only focus. Mia believed the student council president was someone who only cared about studying and didn't have any fun activities. But Mia always stood up for him if anyone criticized him. Mia said only good things about the president. Still, Jay was an amazing person in her opinion. That is when her friend noticed Mia had feelings for Jay. The boy in the black jacket with red hair was liked by every girl. Mu was also well liked by all the girls in the class. When Yuna saw Mu, she said his arrival alone made everyone happy. Right after Yuna said this, Mu called her grandma as an insult. Yuna did not seem to be amused by his comment. She liked it even less when Mu stuck out his tongue and made a rude remark. This made Yuna pretty annoyed. Even when her friend told her to calm down, Yuna spoke whatever words she could think of. Even with her quick temper, someone watching noticed Yuna was still very pretty when upset. Dom Kang thought even the smallest moves Yuna did were worth noticing. Mu, however, thought his sister lost her temper too easily and decided to sneak away and act like he didn't know her. Even with all the fuss, Jay kept his mind on his studies. As Minu was going to leave to stay away from his sister, he stopped to say hi to Jay. Jay just paid no attention to Mu's hello, but Minu soon noticed he was ignored. When Jay saw Mu wasn't about to leave, he told him he was working and asked what he wanted. Minu took this time to invite Jay to join the team. He was able to get Jay's attention for a short time and commented that Jay's move down the hill was really impressive. Mu talked about how shocked the group was to see Jay go down the slope with just one skid. They were even more surprised to find out that Jay was the student council president. Mu said he had come to ask Jay if he wanted to join their team. Mu was ignored again, and Jay gave him no reply. Mu kept trying to get his attention, but it still didn't work. Yuna thought it was odd to see them talking because she didn't know they were friends. Ia also wondered what they were talking about. Jay clearly wasn't interested and only wanted Mu to stop bothering him so he could focus on studying. Minu found it hard to believe that Jay really didn't care at all. As he left, Minu complained and said it was alright but also apologized for interrupting, muttering that guys like Jay were annoying. Jay didn't really listen to what Minu said but did feel a bit of interest about the subject. Hearing something about bikes made him remember the time when he was 13 and got his first one. It was his uncle who offered him the bike, saying studying mattered but fresh air was good too. He added that if Jay improved they could take bike rides together. When school ended, everyone was leaving, talking with their friends. Yuna and Mia, who were friends, talked about how hard it was being teenagers. Yuna always thought being a teenager was special and full of romance, but every day felt almost the same. Mia told Yuna not to be down, reminding her that there were still a lot of adventures to come. Yuna hoped the fun would start soon because she was tired of classes. Mia encouraged her and said they could enjoy themselves once the holidays started. Dom Kang showed up suddenly and asked Yuna if she would like to watch a zombie film with him. Surprised, Yuna yelled and told him not to be so loud, thinking of how to teach him a lesson. She had told him before not to come up on her suddenly since it made him look like a stalker. After her scolding, Dom Kang noticed that Yuna was really good at throwing a punch. Once he felt better, he rushed after her, still excited about seeing the movie on the huge TV. At the same time, Jay was looking through the window, watching his classmates leave while getting his things together. After he finished packing his bag about to go home, he saw that Moo had come up behind him again. Moo said that he came back at a time when Jay was not busy studying. He quickly explained that he just wanted to give Jay a proper chance to decide if he really wanted to refuse joining the team. Moo said there would be a race that night and someone wanted to challenge Jay. But Jay just looked at Moo and said he hadn't even started riding yet. He told Moo to leave him alone and go hang out with his friends. Even though Jay didn't want to talk, Moo kept going, saying there was a person in the group called TJ Kin. Moo said TJ Kin had called Jay's bike junk and said it wasn't anything good. TJ Kin also said he didn't like people caring so much about what a bike could do. Moo said TJ Kin had seen Jay riding that bike for a long time and wanted to race against him. They agreed to meet in Green Park that night. Even if Jay didn't answer, people could see that Jay was bothered by things said about his bike. That night at Green Park, it was loud because a lot of people liked spending time there. There were many cyclists doing tricks and enjoying themselves. Some showed that bikes could be for more than just racing. Lots of people watched the Zephus team, whose tricks caught everyone's attention. Moo was relaxed and concentrating, but then June, his friend, played a prank. June put a cold can of energy drink on Moo's face, making him jump. Looking pleased, June told Moo to relax and gave him the can of drink. After taking the drink, Moo was convinced that Jay would really come. Inu said all they could do was wait. June said if Jay didn't come, they could just do some practice races. Then June wondered why Minu liked Jay so much. Minu replied he wasn't obsessed and asked June to talk quieter so people wouldn't start any rumors. June said you don't need a reason to ride a bike. She said it was clear Jay had been riding a long time because he was so skilled. June thought riding as a group would be more fun for Jay than always riding alone. Moo and June were still relaxed when a crowd walked over. The crowd asked Minu where the arrogant person from his school was, saying Jay was really late. Moo asked them to wait a bit more. One person in the crowd suggested maybe Jay was avoiding the challenge. Moo, sure that Jay would come, said there was no point acting superior since Jay would be there soon. Moo suggested that they could race to warm up while waiting. The crowd did not take Moo seriously because he had a hurt leg. Just then, Jay came and many started talking about some of Jay's feats. When Jay arrived, Moo said it was too bad because Moo wanted to compete with TJ and his carbon bike, but maybe they'd get another chance. TJ then asked if Jay was really the one who challenged him. As TJ got closer to Jay, he held out his hand and said he didn't think Jay would come. Jay, though, ignored the gesture like he always did. TJ wondered if something was wrong with Jay. When Jay came closer, Moo said he had been worried that Jay might not show up. Jay got right to the point and told everyone to hurry because he was busy. Jay said that June would explain how things were going to go. June greeted from far away to avoid being ignored and said he came from Sunny School. June shared his name as June Lee and said he was in his third year, which surprised Minu since June was being formal. A different boy, Jack Joe, told them he was a second year. Jack then went over the main rules of the bike race. The rules were clear, a race between two people. Whoever came back to the start first would win, and he added that Jay probably already knew the way. Still, they would have people at each corner to keep everyone safe and make sure no one got lost. Moo said that TJ, the proud boy standing near them, would be Jay's rival. Jay coldly told Moo not to ask him about joining the group after the race. June gave Jay a helmet and reminded him to stay careful. While checking out the bike, Moo saw that Jay had taken off the brakes, maybe to make it weigh less. When everyone was set, TJ tried to tease Jay, daring him to keep up with such a bad bike. Moo told TJ to quit talking big and pay attention to the race. Annoyed, TJ asked why Moo always liked to brag. Someone told the group the race would be on camera. The process was simple. As soon as the gear dropped, they would start riding. The announcer held the gear and told everyone to get ready. He let it go and it slowly touched the ground. As soon as it landed, everyone dashed forward, starting the race. TJ quickly went ahead because his bike was lighter. June knew the real test would start when they pedaled faster and sped up. June had to hurry to film everything. TJ kept teasing Jay and called his bike trash. TJ looked back quickly and told Jay to get used to following him or pass him. It looked like TJ's teasing made Jay want to pedal even harder. Glancing back again, TJ saw Jay was catching up fast and realized this race would not be easy. Jay was getting close quickly, so TJ had to push himself to go much faster. Thankfully, they were almost at a marked corner. He decided to throw some cones to make things tougher for his opponent. But for Jay, the cones didn't matter much since he was used to handling obstacles every day. June saw TJ's unfair move and asked him why he did it. The cone did make Jay lose his balance a little. June was recording and saw everything happening, so she called out to Jay to watch out for what was ahead. The car was coming toward them and it seemed like a crash might happen. But Jay reacted quickly. The car acted like a ramp and it helped him go even faster. He pulled off a neat trick while doing it, which made TJ angry since it didn't go as he had hoped. Watching this, June felt amazed and sure the video would come out great. After getting through that short problem, Jay kept going faster and faster. After the scary moment, June felt thankful nothing bad happened. He also yelled at TJ, asking him to stop being so careless. Then TJ gave a false apology, saying maybe his foot slipped. But Jay was braver than TJ expected. June kept recording and watched TJ carefully, worried about what he might do next. At the same time, June was really impressed by Jay's abilities, thinking the spin and his quick reflexes were amazing. June wished his friends from school could have seen it in person. The race went on, with Jay catching up to TJ quickly. Soon they were side by side and Jay just wanted to finish this funny race. TJ thought Jay was just saying things to mess with him. Ahead of them, a sharp curve meant there was more trouble, and TJ was already coming up with ideas. He thought he could try something during the tight turn since he noticed something important. Rather than slow down, TJ actually sped up more. But Jay saw bicycling in a new way. He took the curve with great skill. TJ now saw all of Jay's actions and improvements right in front of him. He could even watch a perfect drift happening right before his eyes. Once they finished the turn, Jay was clearly in front. TJ's face showed he was annoyed by this. Jay, unlike TJ, was just having a good time with the race and enjoying everything going on. June was more thrilled about Jay, never thinking he would use a drift to take that turn. June could not guess where Jay had learned to ride so well, but Jay controlled that old bike like it was part of him. TJ, who was behind and upset that he could not get closer, found it hard to believe that his carbon bike was losing to that old thing. As TJ kept getting angry, he looked ahead and saw Jay waving toward him at the back. Turning towards TJ, Jay said that would be his new view. This made TJ even angrier, and he started to pedal as hard as he could. Angry, TJ replied that Jay could wait because it wasn't finished yet. TJ told Jay he would catch up, saying it was just about time. Looking at TJ, Jay said studying for it wouldn't matter. Jay wanted to finish everything in 4 minutes. Jay knew TJ didn't want him thinking that just because he'd gotten ahead, the race was over. Jay really disliked all the people at school, calling them a bunch of fools. The space between them started to get bigger fast. June hoped nothing would go wrong, wishing it would all turn out okay. Jay rode without any trouble while TJ pushed himself hard to catch up. Upset, TJ said he wasn't going to let Jay get past him that easily. He said he would catch Jay at the last hill. But for Jay, this wasn't hard because he had already done some stunts. June, behind and filming it all, yelled for them to slow down because the hill was too steep. There was also a fence at the bottom. June worried someone could get really hurt if they weren't careful. Still, neither of the boys seemed to want to slow down, even with June shouting all the time. Jay, who was very skilled, went down the hill easily without hitting the fence. He slowed down a lot, barely touching the fence to push himself forward, then kept riding as if it was nothing. But the rider coming after started having problems. That was TJ, who was going too fast on the steep hill with the fence at the bottom. Now, he was in trouble. No matter how much he used the brakes, he couldn't stop soon enough to avoid running into the fence. In the end, he couldn't miss it and crashed into the fence as his bike rolled over. June, coming carefully behind, saw TJ's small accident. Jay, after seeing what happened, quickly went over to help him. When he learned TJ couldn't keep riding, Jay slowed down. With his usual look, Jay called TJ a loser and then pedaled away slowly. At the same time, TJ stood up from the ground while June ran over to see if he was alright. TJ was still on the ground, and although his injury stung, he felt more embarrassed than hurt. At the finish line, people were busy with all kinds of things to pass the time. Moo kept himself busy by playing a bike and obstacle game. When Moo overheard someone say the racers were returning, he thought the race was short and got excited since he had just beaten his own score in the game. They said that the sunny cyclist got first place, so TJ had lost. TJ's friends were shocked and could not believe he lost and started to worry since he still hadn't appeared. Who thought that everything said about TJ now seemed useless. He felt TJ finally faced the outcome he deserved. Still, Moo recalled always saying what mattered was the rider, not the bike. He realized he should watch the video once June came back. Day stared at Moo and reminded him about what he said before the event. Day took off his helmet and threw it to Moo. Day lifted his hood and told Moo to stop bothering him at school with all the stories about racing. Day walked by everyone on his way home while people thought he seemed really strong. Minu could hardly wait for his friend to come so he could hear every detail about what had happened. When Minu finally heard the news, he was shocked and asked what went on. Minu saw Jay helping TJ and asking for a first aid kit. People watching asked what happened and said TJ should go to the hospital. TJ clenched his teeth in pain and couldn't believe he was going through such shame. Although hurt, TJ was still full of himself and he ordered that the person who caused his accident be brought to him. Back after the race, Jay saw the house was empty because his mom was still at work. His brother Joe asked Jay where he had been, guessing he was biking again. Jay gave no reply and bent down to take off his shoes while his brother kept talking about college and studying, saying that he couldn't just go biking with his friends. Jay's mood changed when the TV began playing Kitty Hour. Jay got super happy because the cartoon had finally begun, not even noticing when he hit his toe on the wall. He rolled on the ground from pain, but as the anime went on, it stopped hurting little by little. Slowly his upset look faded, and he stared at the screen in amazement. Even though Jay looked grown up, he was always really happy when a cat-themed anime came on TV. Joe took the chance while Jay was busy watching TV to have a shower so he could wash up after the race. While taking a shower, KJ thought about events from the competition. Parts of the race replayed in his head. KJ felt something unusual. He had never reacted like this before. The following day, Jay got ready for school. While checking his bike's tires, Jay saw they were damaged from the race yesterday. This was a problem. While he thought about it, his brother came outside and watched him. KJ asked what was wrong with the bike and wondered if Jay would really ride it to school. When he saw his brother getting set to bike to school, KJ thought his brother was obsessed with biking. But Jay ignored his brother's remark that biking in the morning used too much energy. A student shouldn't get tired so soon. Jay, already ready to go, just said goodbye. Joe didn't get what was going on with his brother or what would happen if he kept acting like this. KJ stood there looking serious as a spotted cat suddenly showed up in front of him, stopping in fear. KJ had chased that cat before and felt like chasing it again in that moment. Meanwhile, Mia was rushing because she almost missed her bus, which was very crowded that morning. While she was squeezed on the hot bus in heavy traffic, Jay was riding his bike and enjoying the cool wind. On the bus, people complained about how messy the morning traffic was. Mia glanced around, feeling out of place from the talking boys nearby. Suddenly, she saw something that made her face turn red. It was her dear one on his bike riding past. Seeing him on his way to school, she even forgot the bad feeling of being on the bus for a moment. Soon, the boys saw that a bike could actually be faster than the bus. They decided they might want a better and quicker bike. At the same time, inside a fancy car stuck in the same traffic, a young man complained quietly that the driver could only move slowly forward toward the school. When the young man noticed a biker who would clearly get to school before him, he told his driver he would rather use a bike than wait in the car. As Jay kept riding, the school principal, who owned a bike and liked biking too, rode up to him. Jay looked over and saw the principal, who said biking was a great way to get exercise in the morning. Jay thought it was normal for the principal to also ride his bike to school. The principal, a strong man, always rode his bike to work. Jay understood that cycling needed carefulness, as riders like them were not always welcomed everywhere. Sidewalks and roads weren't safe for bikers, and sadly, even special bike lanes didn't keep them perfectly safe. The principal smiled and told Jay to stop chatting and hurry up. Jay laughed and said the principal and student council president shouldn't be late. There was some disturbance at the school entrance because a few students were being held back. A second-year student was picked out for not wearing the uniform properly or acting too flashy. He tried to slip by, but they saw his strange hair color and stopped him. When they stopped him, they joked if he had poured orange juice on his hair. He also didn't have his badge on or bring his backpack. He said he had left both of those at school. But this answer wasn't what they wanted. Just then, Jay and the principal saw all the fuss that was happening early in the day. The principal asked what was going on, and the staff said they were just following the rules. The principal said this was not the right way to start the morning. All the students there seemed to be the best-looking ones. The principal wanted to keep the school's reputation safe and hoped students would pay more attention to what they wear. All the students pretended to look innocent and promised the principal they would look neat. Soon after, they hurried away like young pranksters. But the good-looking boy with orange hair paused to listen to pretty girls joining the crowd. He wondered, when did such beautiful girls show up here? Because he was small and cute, the girls noticed him and asked him to meet them at lunch. The principal noticed the boy's young and lively look. The janitor told the principal he had a lecture coming up that morning. The classroom was noisy, with some students chatting and others trying to nap. Yuna was showing Mia her phone with a photo of the principal and explaining that it was lecture material. He really had flair, and Yuna saw Mia looking at someone and asked why she stared. Mia was watching because Jay had arrived on a bicycle that day. Yuna teased her by saying someone had a crush. When Yuna turned, her admirer, the boy with the fake mustache, called her name. She joked by tossing a book at his forehead and told him to stop yelling behind her. He knew this was her way of showing affection. In the middle of the noise, Jay sat in the corner reading. A group of boys were talking about an online video they saw about a bicycle race. Even kids who weren't fans of bikes liked the video. Moo walked by. Jay mentioned he'd already watched the race video June shared. The girls with Moo were curious about how he knew the student council president. Mia was always brave, paying close attention in every class. At the same time, a boy who liked Mia was sleeping. Most people in the class were a little bored, except the ones sleeping who were dreaming of being scolded by Yuna. Now and then, Mia would look at the boy she loved to see if he saw her. Even when he didn't look at her, Mia felt shy just thinking he might. One time he did glance over, but without any interest. Maybe he did not notice her at all and was just watching the sky. Everyone started to leave when someone saw Jay in the distance getting ready to ride again. Dom Kang couldn't help himself and wanted another turn, so he put his hand on Jay's shoulder and asked. Jay ignored Dom Kang completely, and Dom Kang could only watch Jay go. From far away, Jade walked up and told Dom Kang he couldn't borrow the bike, warning it would probably get broken. Dom Kang started to feel relaxed when Yuna's voice got closer. Smiling widely, Dom Kang asked Yuna if she noticed how great his skin looked that day. Yuna said his face was just oily from sleeping all through class. Dom Kang kept saying Yuna should stop acting like she didn't like him since he saw her watching while he slept. Then Yuna playfully kicked the back of Dom Kang's leg and gently told him to be quiet. Jay was riding home on his bike when he heard a strange sound from the tires. Jay stopped, checked, and saw that his bike finally had a flat tire. That was when TJ and his friends showed up, and they asked Jay if he needed help with fixing the busted bike. Jay, hardly able to recognize TJ with glasses on and his odd face, asked TJ if he remembered him. Dom Kang was calmly walking, happy he had gotten Yuna's attention so much that even his body was tired. Because he had fallen asleep during class, Dom Kang had to rush to work. That's when he spotted Jay, the kid he had asked for a bike ride, walking far in front of him. Dom Kang could tell Jay wasn't by himself and some guys who liked trouble were bothering him. TJ asked Jay if he slept well since TJ did not and his own head hurt. Jay, not sure who was talking, asked TJ for his name. This made TJ very angry, thinking Jay was making fun of them or not paying attention. TJ kicked Jay's bike and accused him of acting arrogant just because he won with that old thing. When Jay saw his bike on the ground, he couldn't stay quiet. TJ complained that first Jay embarrassed him in front of everyone with that broken bike, and now Jay was ignoring him, but Jay didn't care to listen. He hit TJ to shut him up and for kicking his bike. At first, Jay didn't look like someone who could fight since his punch didn't really hurt TJ. Still, it was enough to make TJ and his group angry. TJ and his group decided to teach Jay a lesson and even stomped his glasses. Then TJ got down to where Jay was lying there and asked how Jay would dare come to class the next day. TJ also asked if Jay finally remembered him now, but Jay still didn't know who he was. TJ said maybe Jay needed one more lesson to remember better. That was when Dom Kang spoke, making everyone look at him because of how daring he sounded. When TJ saw Dom Kang, he had no idea who he was and just called him another loser. Dom Kang pointed out it was strange that bullies always fought as a group together against a single person. He finished his speech and dropped his backpack on the floor. Dom Kang then cracked his knuckles and said that he wanted to join the fight. TJ asked if Dom Kang was in the wrong place. That's when TJ's friends quickly whispered to him, asking if he didn't recognize who he was dealing with. TJ's friends stared with wide eyes and whispered about Dom Kang, hinting that he was bad news. Everything started to seem dangerous. Whatever word TJ's friends passed made TJ step away from the fight. TJ gave Jay a sharp look and said he really couldn't stand fools from the school. TJ said Jay should thank Dom Kang since that's the only reason TJ was letting him go. Then TJ and his crew walked away before it went any further. Dom Kang noticed that besides being cool, he was also pretty scary since just standing there was enough to make TJ and his gang leave. Dom Kang offered his hand to Jay, but Jay didn't take it. After getting back on his feet, Jay said he was okay and asked Dom Kang to just leave him alone. Not understanding, Dom Kang touched his hair and wondered why people around him always acted unfriendly. Short distance away, Mina walked with two girls, hoping to go sing karaoke. But just ahead, while Mina was passing by, he saw TJ, who not long ago had bothered Mina before going away. TJ made a sarcastic comment that having money must be great, otherwise Mina wouldn't have two girls with him. But Mina called off his plans with the girls when he saw Jay ahead. He told the girls he was sorry and said they could do karaoke another time. The girls looked clearly upset. Not far away, Dom Kang tried to tell Jay that the bike was destroyed and that Jay himself was badly hurt. Then Mina showed up and asked what happened to Jay's face, wanting to know if he got into a fight. Dom Kang said that some punks from another school attacked Jay until Dom Kang arrived and stopped them. TJ figured out what that meant. The guys with him before must have been out for payback. Jay asked TJ if that answer was enough and told him to leave him alone. Mina felt sorry and said sorry for getting Jay mixed up in all of this. Dom Kang just told Jay to not think about it anymore and never bring up the team again. But Dom was still worried about Jay's wounds and wanted him to go to a drugstore. Jay didn't want any help, but Dom said that Jay really needed to get checked out. Dom even offered to at least take Jay home, but Jay stubbornly told Dom to stay out of his life. Getting tired of the argument, Dom Kang decided he needed to do something drastic. He got close to Jay and with a quick move knocked him out. Mina questioned why Dom did that, saying it was not needed. But Dom said that what he did was nothing compared to what Yuna might have done. Still, Mina wondered how Dom could hit someone already hurt. Dom explained that if he hadn't stopped things, they would have just argued all day. Dom lifted Jay, carried him over his shoulder and started to walk as usual, asking Mina to get the bike. When Mina asked where Dom was taking Jay, Dom said he did not know either. Neither Dom nor Mina seemed to know Jay's address. The girls watching them thought Dom seemed rather rude. After that, Mina went to the drugstore to buy Jay some medicine and bandages. While waiting, he saw Dom Kang drop something on the floor. Later, the two stood next to the still unconscious Jay, not sure what to do. They just knew they didn't know where Jay lived. When they reached a nearby spot, they noticed someone looking at their phone with a white cat picture on it. That someone was Joe, Jay's brother, who was on his way and wanted to stop at home before class. Some people talking nearby made KJ pay attention. He thought they looked like bullies from Sunny High and he saw someone knocked out close to them. When KJ got a closer look, he realized he thought he knew the face. Who could the boy be? At that moment, KJ saw that it was Jay, his brother. Surprised, he shouted, drawing the attention of Dom and Mino, who were thinking nearby. Dom Kang believed he heard the boy say Jay's name, and Mino thought so too. KJ, scared, didn't know what to do as the two stared at him because he was afraid they might target him next. Mino asked himself if KJ had met Jay before. While Dom Kang had a feeling they were family, he tried not to meet eyes with anyone, said he didn't know the boy, and walked away without trouble. Dom Kang felt he couldn't be wrong. He knew he had really heard the boy say Jay's name. Mino watched carefully and noticed the boy was important, reminding him of another person. Later, Dom and Mino put things together and realized the boy looked just like Jay but younger. This made them see that Joe wasn't telling the truth and was really Jay's brother. Dom and Mino were surprised that even seeing his brother was not awake. Joe just walked calmly as if he didn't know him. Angry, Dom and Mino wanted to find out why KJ was acting relaxed while it was clear he was escaping. Dom Kang lifted up Jay, who was still not awake, and Mino took the bicycle. Together, they started following Joe. Later on, everyone explained things and KJ found out they were friends with his brother. When they asked if he had left his brother behind, KJ said he ran off because he feared Dom and Mino might try to hurt him or something similar. KJ said he wanted to take care of Jay. That was when Dom Kang saw how selfish he himself had acted. KJO said that by always moving and fighting with others, it showed Jay picked his friends well. When they got to Jay's home, they moved him to his bedroom and Dom Kang started fixing his wounds with bandages. After wiping Jay's forehead, Dom finished the hard job, doing as much as possible. Now it depended on the person hurt. KJO still could not believe his brother chose such annoying friends. Mino questioned the bandage under Dom Kang's nose and Dom Kang admitted he had his own secret. Mino, being curious, removed the bandage to check what was under it. After seeing it, Mino said that if the principal noticed, Dom Kang would get in big trouble. Mino asked Ko if anyone else lived in the house. While glancing around, Mino noticed it was a normal boy's room. Mino also saw Joe keeping an eye on something that looked like a camera, and Joe said he was watching to stop anything being stolen. The more Joe talked, the more Mino thought he was just like his pesky brother. Dom and Mino searched the room until they found a photo frame with Jay's uncle and a bike from Jay's childhood in it. Mino came over to show the frame, but Dom Kang thought it was odd for him to be so near. Looking at the picture, Dom Kang realized the child he saw couldn't be Joe, the bothersome boy. Then they saw the boy looked gentle and understood it was Jay. Moo mentioned that Jay had that bicycle when he was a kid. He asked why Jay came for the race after hinting he wouldn't. Dom Kang thought it was strange that Moo was speaking quietly. After watching Moo for a short time, Dom Kang began noticing the boy in front turning into Yuna. Dom Kang wondered if he was seeing things because the boy really resembled Yuna. Feeling embarrassed, Dom Kang started to think he might have been lonely these days. Up until that time, Minu and Dom Kang had not been close enough with Jay to know he and Yuna were twins. Moo believed the photo was from the family, but he did not recall who the boy was. All of a sudden, Jay, with many band-aids on his face, woke up and asked what they were doing in his room. Moo and Dom Kang exchanged a look, then asked if Jay was awake at last and if he slept well. Jay stood up, walked over and grabbed the photo frame from them. Upset, Jay told them not to touch his things and to leave his place. Moo quickly picked up a mirror and showed Jay his own face, saying they only brought him there to take care of him. Dom Kang, looking pleased, said thanks weren't needed because he was just doing what he had to do. In just a few seconds, Dom Kang pulled off all the band-aids from Jay's face. Jay told them he did not want to argue. He said he was exhausted and wanted them gone. Dom Kang put his hand on Jay's shoulder and questioned if Jay would really kick them out that way. Moo and Dom Kang decided that Jay wasn't very friendly, especially since they were only trying to help him. Afterward, they chose to check what was on Jay's computer, like opening Pandora's box. Jay, annoyed, told them not to touch his computer, but they didn't listen and looked anyway. While Moo held Jay down, Dom Kang looked with disgust at everything Jay was working on at the computer. With a smile, Dom Kang told Jay he'd show him a dark road leading to an entirely new world. Dom Kang said Jay should be glad they met, but Jay still didn't want them using his computer. While this happened, KJ thought it would be smarter to just go to class since those three were wasting too much of his time. At last, Dom Kang completed the link and asked if everyone was set, just as Jay's brother suddenly came in. After seeing what they were looking at, Jay's brother knew they were dealing with something forbidden. Everyone gathered close, watching what Dom Kang had pulled up on the computer. Although blushing like everyone else, Jay's brother was angry because the others had downloaded useless files. He said his computer was now a mess and stopped for a second, making sure nobody was coming. Jay came back before his brother had a chance to delete or check the content. This time, Jay came back to give a message from their mom. Not too far away, Minu and Dom Kang were talking about the video. Minu liked Kjos's style and thought they should spend more time together. Minwang said yes to meeting again at school the next day because both were busy. Then Minu recalled he had to work a part-time job after school. Minu hoped the day would end well. When his phone rang, Moo saw a chance. Mu called everyone together and set up an urgent meeting that night, telling all to come. It was very important for TJ and his group to show up. Everyone met up like Mu asked, but many were unhappy about the meeting. TJ heard the comments, smiled, and told them to take any issues up with Mu directly. Some people wondered if there was an issue between Mu and TJ, since Mu had wanted TJ there. Acting like he didn't know, TJ said it wasn't the first time Mu had behaved this way. June said that in any case, Mu starred the team, so he should be listened to. June also said there was probably a reason for the meeting being held then. TJ said June was just siding with a school friend. That made June feel awkward, but before he could say anything, he saw Mu come in. Mu came in looking very serious, like something big had happened. TJ was not bothered by Mu's serious look and kept joking. Feeling more annoyed, Mu fixed his jacket and slipped off his ring. Mu said he would deal with TJ and walked straight to him, then punched him hard in the face. TJ was hit so hard he fell down, and others had to help get him up. Nobody there understood why this was going on. People wanted Mu to explain why he acted like that. Mu said TJ should stop speaking badly about their team and leave while he still could. His words shocked everyone and they were curious what he meant. Annoyed, TJ wanted to know why Mu had hit him without warning. Mu told him not to act dumb, wanted to call the team super, saying he didn't want people like TJ attacking their own team members for no good reason. With a grin, saying he didn't, who he thought was foolish. He said it was clear Mu didn't see that the other person had started first. TJ then confidently said that Mu was actually the one who should leave the team. Mu was puzzled and realized TJ wanted to replace him. Close by, his friend June saw the situation getting more out of control. TJ remarked that the team members seemed more unhappy with Mu than with him. Mu quickly challenged everyone to stop talking behind his back and say their complaints to him directly. Each person took their turn and shared what was bothering them. They mentioned being called to meetings without warning and said that since TJ was not officially in the team, maybe he was right. They also said that no one should be forced out unless everyone talked first, especially since Mu called everyone together just to push out TJ. TJ, feeling pleased, turned to Mu and pointed out how unhappy everyone was. He said Mu hadn't been cycling because his leg was hurt and claimed he just walked around with girls. Making fun of him, he told Mu to start his own club at school since it would be easy with his dad's money. June spoke up, asking everyone to stop because they had gone too far. After hearing everything, Mu suggested a race to decide who should stay or go in Team Zephus. June thought this was a really bad idea. TJ was interested in the idea and asked how Minu could even ride with a bad leg, but believed it would be easy to win anyway. TJ agreed to the contest and offered doing a 3-on-3 race. It was decided that 3 people from both sides would race, and those who lost would leave. Mu said he was ready to face all 3 opponents by himself. Still, June said he would join because he knew Minu's leg couldn't handle it alone. But nobody else stepped up to cover the 3rd place, so it became a match against Sunny High and Mountain High. TJ made a joke, asking if anyone else wanted to join Minu's team, saying anybody who wanted to leave with them was welcome. No one answered, so everyone agreed that it would just be Sunny High against Mountain High. TJ felt good about it being a 2 versus 3 contest. Mu, TJ, and June looked at each other for some time. At the same time, the school could be really dull and often made students sleepy. That happened to one young student who fell asleep and dreamed a huge dragon appeared after he collected magical spheres. The dragon who appeared from the spheres had the power to grant a wish. The student wished for a perfectly shaped body like Chris Hemsworth. The dragon replied that it would be simple. He only had to eat a certain mushroom. Happy with this, he took a bite, and after feeling much pain, he completely changed. Everywhere he went, he made the hearts of young girls race. He turned into a good-looking young man wearing a classic Chesterfield coat, the kind that looks best on tall guys. These coats make a person look slimmer but hide how strong they really are. All the girls looked at his way of standing, wished for a boyfriend like him, and wondered if he was dating anyone. He acted like a gentleman, joking that he could charge money for every heartbeat they had. They agreed to pay and pulled his head toward their chests. This way, he could listen to many heartbeats at once. He was so relaxed with the dream that he drooled while sleeping at his desk. After a while, someone called out his name from far away. He slowly woke up, saw his classmate, and felt a bit sad since it was only a dream. Shinyoung asked him about his dream while he mumbled about girls pressing his head down. When she wanted more information, he just said it was no big deal and thanked her for bringing him milk. He liked to call her Little Water, and that nickname made her feel let down. As he drank the milk, he pictured the smooth taste and imagined it would help him grow taller with the calcium. Right then, a friend walked up and put his arm around his neck playfully. But the move surprised him and he choked, spilling most of his milk. Someone wanted a girl to go somewhere, but another girl blocked her way, so he took a video of his friends flirting, not missing anything and finding it really funny. While this happened in the background, June and Mu walked by. June asked Mu what his plan was. The answer was clear. Mu wanted to win the contest and remove TJ from their group. Mu's friend worried about how Minu would do this since his leg was still injured. Mu just laughed and said the doctor had told him easy cycling would help him get better. Still, Minu's friend warned that little bike rides would not be enough for the big race, and that with the relay system their team would have a hard time. Minu's friend thought they should get help from the student council president, Jay. Mu wasn't happy with this. Minu didn't want Jay to be involved with the team anymore, and Minu's friend started feeling worried. Meanwhile, the student council president was bored in class doodling small bikes. Jay was looking like this when someone left an envelope on his desk. Jay looked up and saw that it was Mia. Mia told Jay the envelope was for his injury. She looked worried about him, but Jay told her that he hadn't asked Mia for help. When Mia realized Jay hurt her friend's feelings, she hit the desk. She told Jay that when a girl tried to help and showed care, the least he could do was be nice and say thank you. Mia felt bad because her friend had looked sad all morning after seeing Jay's wounds. Mia was very embarrassed by Yuna's words. Things became a little more awkward when Dom Kang walked in and gave Jay a strong pat on the back. Next, Dom Kang put his arm around Jay's neck and asked if Jay was feeling tired or if he had stayed up late. Yuna was shocked. She didn't know the two knew each other. Kang explained that they had talked through a computer screen. Yuna had no clue what Dom Kang meant, and Mia was also confused. The boy called out for Jay and said a senior student wanted to meet him in the hallway. Dom Kang joked that Jay was getting a lot of attention now, but he then ignored it and joined Yuna. As usual, Yuna was very sweet with Dom Kang. People were talking about how the two might be dating and acting differently. While a few girls chatted about Yuna and Dom Kang, they failed to realize the older boy nearby. When the girls noticed him, they felt shy. But June was a friendly guy. The girls hurried off, whispering that he was very good-looking, though one girl had heard a rumor he didn't like girls. June heard this and felt strange about it since it wasn't really true. However, June's face changed when he saw Jay with bruises. June still wasn't aware of what happened with TJ. At that moment, June figured out this might be the reason Mu was so mad at TJ. June noticed Jay's look and thought maybe Jay didn't know who June was. June even guessed Jay might have trouble remembering faces. So June spent 5 minutes telling Jay who he was and how they met. This helped because Jay finally recognized June and recalled meeting him before. June then told him he wanted to ask for help and said what Mu did after seeing Jay. June said he did not want Jay involved anymore, but he couldn't turn away from his friend. Jay was direct and answered that he didn't want anything to do with their team anymore. June tried to tell Jay things weren't fair now and that if Minu lost, Minu would get kicked off his own team. Jay wondered why that should matter to him. Still, June went ahead and told Jay that the race would happen that night at 8 p.m. in the same place as the last race. June also said that if Jay chose to come or help, they would be waiting there. Everyone was already at the race area and people couldn't stop discussing who would come out on top. Whoever lost had to leave the group, which made everyone more nervous. Somewhere else, June was sitting on a bench fixing his shoe. Mu, feeling sure of himself, called out to June that it was time to start. But actually, it was already 8 minutes past the planned time and June understood he had been waiting. June started thinking Jay might not come, and things looked bad without Jay. TJ's group felt even more confident because they had 3 people compared to 2, which gave them an advantage from the beginning. June saw that TJ had put a brake on his bike, maybe because of what happened in the last race. June then asked if TJ changed his front wheel for an 8mm carbon one. TJ, as he often did, started with sarcastic comments, saying Mu had not biked for a long time. With a laugh, TJ told Mu to be careful, or else he might hurt his other leg too. Getting annoyed with TJ's words, Mu said it was time to begin the race. But before starting, they went over the rules, but everyone's focus moved to a girl who arrived on a scooter. She drew all the guys' attention because she entered so confidently. She took off her helmet, said she was glad she made it in time, and introduced herself as Harry Lee. She told them she was a host for a bike show on the online channel Paprika TV. She had heard about the race and decided to come. When she removed her helmet, Harry's beautiful face made all the boys turn red. She said she wanted to live stream the race if everyone allowed it. Mu, always polite, said it would be great for such a pretty lady to cover their event. TJ really liked the idea, looking forward to beating Mu in front of everyone online. Hai quickly checked the 4G and started streaming live the usual way. The viewers enjoyed seeing a race that was going to decide who could stay in the group. The official, who had stopped for a moment when Harry got there, continued speaking. He said the race would be the usual relay, where people passed a baton. This time, instead of batons, they would use LED wristbands. When you pressed hard enough, the bands would snap onto your wrist. He showed how this worked by pressing the right spot on the wristband. To sum up, the racers needed to drop the bands at certain places, and the first team to finish passing them would win. As everyone knew, the losing team would have to leave the group. Someone asked the losing team's leader if they were really ready. He wasn't sure what was meant, but with 3 against 2, it didn't feel really fair. Then the leader said they shouldn't be worried about it, and that it didn't matter if the other team had more people. Everyone agreed that nobody could argue it was unfair afterwards. The contest started and one person from each team stepped up to put on their armband. First, Mina would go up against TJ. They quickly went at each other as they picked up their armbands. Harry Lee told her viewers that the race between Sunny High and Mountain High would start soon. She said she was getting ready to record and show everything to her audience. TJ wanted to make a point to the other team's losers. For Mountain High, Hyung Min would race first and his opponent would be Jun. Moo said that the first part of the track had a lot of turns, so riding the bike wouldn't be a big advantage. Jun wondered if his leg would let him finish the last two parts. The issue was that Jun didn't know if TJ would race second or third and needed to find that out somehow. With no better option, Jun's friend agreed to help in the first round, letting Jun focus on his own performance. Jun then told his friend not to overdo it because Jun was now ready to begin and take care of the rest. The racers got ready at the starting line while others who weren't racing followed the event on their phones. Harry, getting ready to film, found her spot. An announcement was made that, like in past races, the contest would start as soon as the gear hit the ground. The person holding the gear gripped it with his fingers, ready to drop it slowly. Once the gear touched the ground, the two took off. The race began with high energy as Jun got a good start. Harry Lee, filming live, followed next on her bike with the camera fixed on her helmet. It was clear to everyone that the blue armband was for Mountain High and the red one meant Sunny High. At this point, Mountain High was leading. The live broadcast drew comments from viewers all over. The people waiting to see the racers return also watched closely, noticing every strong pedaling move. Even though he did his best, Jun couldn't match Moo's abilities and had trouble keeping up. Jun's competitor from Sunny High teased him, asking if that was really the best Jun could do. Even when everyone could see Jun working hard, the Sunny High racer tried hard to narrow the gap and was almost catching up. The Sunny High racer thought Jun might have a secret plan since Jun stayed quiet and didn't react to the taunts, so he decided to ride even faster. He started to pedal quicker. The leader pedaled as hard as he could to keep the front spot. But the distance between him and the racer behind him didn't get any bigger. The leader was still ahead, but he felt more and more pressure, thinking the second racer could pass him at any time. Then the leader figured out that the racer behind him was using the slipstream move. Jun, although he seemed silent, was using his tactics. Harry, who was commentating, also noticed the slipstream and quickly told everyone it was for moving through the wind more easily. This method, used to lower air resistance in cycling or motorcycle races, is called drifting in racing. The commentator called it a smart move for a high school contest. The spectators thought Jun was just riding behind, picking a good time to use this trick. Still, passing Jun would not be simple. After Hyung Min, everyone thought it couldn't be done. Still, the rival racer believed things would get better for him after the last hill. When Sunny High's racer overtook Jun, he thanked him for blocking the wind. This made Jun's opponent very angry, but what really upset him was losing the top spot to the Sunny High racer. Now, leg power was the most important thing. The racer in front changed to a harder gear and pedaled as hard as he could. Those behind saw what he did. They saw the front racer move to a heavier gear. An announcement said the Sunny High racer with the red armband was now in front. It was a big change. The Sunny High racer had gone past his rival even uphill, and Mountain High's racer started falling behind. The distance started growing bigger, too much to catch up in so little time. Jun's friends watching online were amazed by him. At the same time, the person now second place didn't get how Jun went uphill so fast. Ahead, two racers done with their part stood ready for the last stretch. Harry Lee's scooter was close now, so they knew the end was near. Mina said they should get ready and wished his rival good luck, thinking his opponent might still recover. Mina wasn't really aware of what would happen and didn't know who would get to the finish first. Moo asked Jun if his teammate could overtake Jun. Then things got worse. Moo realized himself that Jun was coming, not his own teammate. Jun pointed forward and Moo quickly saw the incoming racer. That made Jun uneasy because it was a bad sign for his team. Jun was way out in front and no one else was near him. Moo watched with pride, knowing Jun's ability, and Jun returned his smile. Full of good vibes, Moo told his rival they'd soon reach the finish. Jun quickly took off his bracelet so he could hand it to the next teammate. Jun wished Moo luck and took off, focused on winning. The announcer noticed Sunny School's next racer already grabbed the bracelet and moved ahead. Their friends streaming the race thought that Moo would win if he kept his pace. Harry, riding her scooter, was just a bit behind Sunny School's next racer. She could see he was ahead and way in the lead. Soon, the second racer would start the third and last part of the race. Every team member who watched could see how fast he was, and they figured out that Moo and Jun were racing together. In the meantime, Jun sipped on an energy drink to boost himself, but he looked lost in thought. Jun only wished his friend wouldn't push himself too much and make his injury worse. This thought stayed in Jun's mind, making him think about the accident where Moo had badly hurt his leg. Jun couldn't get these memories out of his head until after sitting down, he saw someone he knew ahead of him. At the same time, during the race, Mina was trying his best, knowing that if he failed, Jun would also get kicked off the team. Still, Mina felt strong pain in his leg, and soon it became too much to handle. Standing by, waiting for the next racer, TJ nervously waited for his chance to start. TJ felt annoyed when someone in the crowd said he might end up being the one kicked out of the team. The competitor school was already winning, and TJ got upset, knowing the other team was happy about it. TJ thought his teammate was coming close to pass him the bracelet, at least that's what he thought. But when TJ saw a red bracelet, he knew it belonged to the rival racer who was moving ahead, making it impossible to catch up. Everyone watching saw that the speed was so high, it didn't even look like a bicycle but more like a motorbike. TJ blamed his teammate for being late, making things worse for the team in the race. Late and very tired, TJ's teammate, the one who needed to hand over the bracelet, could barely keep pedaling fast. People were watching the live stream on their phones, and many noticed that Sunny School's team had almost finished the course. At the same time, Mountain School's team was still behind with their second racer. While drying off after a shower and keeping updated on the race, the commentator mentioned that the gap between the teams was getting bigger. Moo's former friend felt happy about this and seemed to still care a bit about the friendship. In the race, Moo pedaled hard, ignoring the pain. Suddenly, while riding out of control, Moo saw a cat in the road playing with a ball. There wasn't enough time to stop. When Moo tried to slow down and steer away from the cat, he put too much stress on his sore leg, making it worse. Since his leg couldn't help, Moo fell down and hit the ground hard. The commentator explained everything, and everyone watching the live broadcast felt upset. Jun, his dedicated friend, was heartbroken by what happened, while Moo lay there on the ground, knowing the race was finished. The commentator, moving in to help Moo with first aid, told everyone the broadcast would be stopped for a moment because of the accident. She stopped the live stream, leaving viewers wondering what would happen next. June realized Minu shouldn't have raced like that on a hurt leg. Not knowing about the crash, TJ rode as fast as he could, believing he could still catch up. A bit farther on, TJ was surprised to see a bike on the ground, Moo lying there and the commentator helping him. This was a beautiful moment for TJ, who smiled without thinking. He understood this result was always going to happen. From the beginning, racing with a hurt leg was a huge gamble, but TJ trusted his good fortune. Moo was still on the ground, struggling to see who was close. His sight was blurry but slowly improved. Harry Lee came over and asked Moo if he could stand up. Looking to the side, Moo saw Jay, who wondered why Moo was on the ground. Moo told him not to just watch and to send the message instead. Jay crouched and took off Moo's bracelet. Moo and the commentator thought it was odd. Right after that, Jay put the bracelet on his own arm. He recalled leaving food and a note for his younger brother, explaining he was only going out to fix the bike and would return soon. However, his younger brother seemed to already know what Jay was planning. Jun quickly told Jay about the rules and track, though Minu kept saying that Jay didn't have to do this. Jay firmly said it was not what they were thinking. He explained he was only going because he needed to take care of some things. Minu realized that was not completely true, so he faked a smile. Just then, Moo called out to Jay and tossed him the helmet, asking Jay to show those guys how it's done. Jay stared at the helmet, trying to decide if he really wanted to put it on since it was sweaty and stank. Moo saw that Jay didn't want to wear it and said his own helmet smelled fine, but Jay's was really smelly. June, noticing Minu and Jay were fine enough to argue, stayed back as she got ready to race again. As she went to get on her scooter, she recognized the familiar bike. At the same time, up ahead, TJ was even singing quietly because he was close to finishing. I can get through all of this struggle. He thought, this race is a breeze, I love this. TJ didn't feel mad at Moo anymore and almost felt bad for him, even though Moo shouldn't have competed while hurt. TJ thought it was awkward having to complete the race by himself. Getting to his feet, Moo, feeling spirited, believed TJ should be scared because someone fast was behind him, and TJ noticed it right away. He was shocked that a cyclist was actually getting closer to him. The speed was unbelievable. Looking more carefully, he saw it was Jay. TJ's eyes grew wide with shock. He couldn't figure out why Jay was there. That's when he understood the race wouldn't be as easy as he first thought. TJ began pedaling frantically, realizing if he didn't, the other school would win. He understood that Jay chasing him so skillfully on the bike was like facing a wild animal. TJ felt Jay was following him like an angry dog. There was only a short distance left. TJ thought that he had gone too far to lose now. He was sure he wouldn't be passed on the downhill part coming up. TJ believed that to win, he just had to be faster than Jay on the downhill part. With Jay still putting pressure on him, TJ, sweating and keeping with his plan, did exactly what he wanted to do when he reached the downhill. But TJ knew things wouldn't be easy. As he rushed down the hill, memories of last time quickly came to him. The fear of another crash was too much for TJ, so he braked and lost the small lead he had left. At the same time, Jay was unstoppable going downhill. For him, it was as if brakes did not matter. In fact, Jay's bike didn't even have brakes, but he didn't mind at all. Jay just did a rock walk on the downhill, sliding into a 180-degree turn. Jay did moves like this all the time. So after doing the move, Jay just kept riding, leaving TJ behind. TJ, very annoyed, knew any small mistake could make him lose and get kicked off the team. The racer at the front, Jay, took a deep breath and stopped. TJ saw that Jay had stopped a little ahead and was closely watching him. TJ asked what Jay was doing and yelled for him to move. Jay just stood still, staring at TJ, who didn't know what to do and had to brake. TJ hoped he could stop without running into Jay, but that failed. Jay, meanwhile, kept a blank expression. TJ stopped only a few centimeters before hitting Jay. Angry, TJ demanded to know if Jay was crazy for stopping right in front of him. Jay replied he only showed up because TJ had kicked his bike the day before. An odd question from Jay caught TJ by surprise. Jay went on to say he wanted to finish things for good and see who was really faster. If TJ wanted some competition, that was fine, especially since Jay wanted to show he could return the challenge. Jay announced there would be a no-rules race to the finish line. Looking at TJ, Jay said he wanted to see if the carbon bike was actually that quick. TJ believed Jay was kidding. He thought there was no way that old bike could beat his lightweight ride. Jay, looking right back, said that in the end, TJ shouldn't blame the bike. He should blame himself. Not happy with where things were going, TJ told Jay to stop talking and just begin. The two readied themselves for the start and began the race. Both did their best to get ahead of each other. At the start, TJ's carbon bike had a tiny lead by just a few millimeters. TJ grinned, noticing Jay was behind, but it looked like Jay was only getting started. The real contest was just starting. Jay pushed hard on the pedals, gaining so much speed he passed TJ. TJ was shocked that he was losing to someone he didn't really know, who seemed to be taking his win away. At the same time, the rest of the team saw Mu coming back with his friend June. They wondered among themselves if Mu felt alright and whether he was truly that injured. Mu admitted he felt bad about messing up the race and explained his leg hadn't fully recovered. June told Mu he had warned him about doing something so risky. Using his leg that much wasn't smart. Looking sad, Mu accepted that racing with a bad leg was a bad idea. Harry Lee pointed out that after such a fast crash, Mu was lucky not to be seriously hurt. TJ's other two teammates looked pleased, thinking they had won, but then they saw someone coming up next to Jay carrying a red flag. This made them question who it might be. Their group only had 2 people and they didn't know of another one for Sunny School. Jay was now ahead and TJ had no way to stop him. To TJ, it seemed like it was all over. He felt everything was already lost. He couldn't figure out why his costly bike couldn't go as fast as Jay's so-called junk bike. When they reached the finish line, everyone was surprised but soon recognized the person with the red flag. It was the president of Sunny School's student council, the same one who had faced TJ before, known by many as unfriendly. People started protesting, saying the match was unfair because it was a 2v3. As Jay crossed the finish line, he looked completely calm. At the same time, TJ looked very upset being beaten again by the same person. Jay took off his helmet and said it looked like the real junk was not his bike. TJ got very angry, thinking Jay meant he was the junk. When it looked like TJ was going to cause trouble, people reminded him the person wasn't even a member of the team. No one could figure out why this new person had joined Sunny School's team for the race. It seemed strange that someone not from the team got involved in the race. Mu explained that he agreed from the start it would be a 3v2 race no matter what happened. Mu also said that when he fell off his bike, the race was already finished for them. Smiling, Mu told TJ there was no need for so many words. Mu just ripped the emblem off his jacket and threw it on the ground. Everybody looked at Mu's act, some felt sad while others thought he was too harsh. Before leaving, Minu glanced back and said he hoped they were happy now, asking them to care for the team. Mu gave a sad look at a few people but he understood there wasn't much else he could do. June put a hand on Mu's shoulder and they left together. Mu felt upset about losing, so June had to quit the team with Minu. It wasn't such a big issue to June. They could go and build a new team on their own. Soon after, Jay threw a helmet to Mu. Mu caught it and thanked Jay for supporting him in the race. Jay said nothing, acting like Mu wasn't there and rode away on his bicycle. Mu could tell Jay was the same as before. Harry Lee spotted something about Jay. He was using a bike that came from someone she remembered well. Mu went ahead even though his legs still hurt a lot and June said she would take him home. Mu said that he didn't need to be treated like a young kid and that his house was close. Even though his team had won, TJ did not feel happy. This was the second time he felt beaten. His friends called him to join them, but TJ was thinking deeply. He thought about how embarrassed he felt and wondered what others would say about it. Someone came up and talked about the unhappy look on TJ's face. Getting ready for a fight, TJ stood up, but he stopped when he recognized who it was. Vinnie Hong asked if TJ was the guy who thought about taking him on. When TJ saw Vinnie, he felt pleased. It had been a while since he saw his friend. TJ smiled and asked why Vinnie had come. Jokingly, Vinnie said if he wasn't supposed to be there. TJ answered, saying he didn't mean it that way at all. Vinnie said he watched the race and it looked like Mu's leg was alright. Still, TJ's friends said that Minu was now just a fool. TJ's friends said they had won the race and as promised Mu had left the team. Vinnie joked that now the cat was gone, the mice could play freely. The 3 who had raced against Mu's team acted friendly. Vinnie said that since Minu's team broke up there was nothing they could do. At the same time, TJ reminded himself that Mu was no longer on his team. Vinnie seemed interested in what Mu was doing, saying that Mu looked alright during the race. Vinnie advised Mu to watch out for his leg. Then Vinnie said he was planning to leave his team too. This made TJ puzzled as he didn't get what Vinnie really meant. A few minutes later, Mu and June were by Mu's house. Mu felt misery about losing the race and being alone without a team. Mu was hurt over being kicked out of his own team, thinking, if it hadn't been for my leg. Then Mu's parents showed up and Mu looked straight at his father. Mu said hello to his father, who quickly asked, raising his voice, what Mu was doing outside. Mu's father questioned what had gone on, since Mu was supposed to be doing his studies. Mu's stepmother tried to make it calmer, saying it was just a teenage problem. Seeing a scratch on Moo's face, she questioned him about how he got hurt. Gently, she came closer to check the injury, asking if he had fallen from his bike. Without really thinking, Moo asked his stepmother to remove her hands. She looked surprised, not expecting Moo to act so rude, especially with his father there. Trying to correct Moo, his father hit him and called him a troublemaker many times. His father said Moo should act with respect as the oldest son. But Moo didn't mind. He told his stepmother that she only cared about his father's money and was taking advantage now that his mother was gone. Angry, Moo's father blamed him for using money for himself and also brought up the bike he got Moo. Loudly, Moo's father ordered him to give up his wallet and every credit card he owned. Challenging him, Moo tossed his wallet onto the floor and said he didn't want his father's money. After hearing what Moo said, his father got angrier and kicked him out of the house. Moo's twin sister watched from her window, feeling very sad to see them fighting. Moo's twin sister went away and quietly said it was because of her. Somewhere else, Minwoo was standing next to a vending machine in a random spot. Sitting down on a bench with his bike, Moo realized he now had no money or anywhere to stay. That day was terrible. No money, kicked off his team and now forced to leave his home. Make things even worse, Moo saw a joyful family go by. Watching the happy kids made Moo remember time spent with his sisters and mother. His mother's smiling face was the only thing giving Moo comfort during these hard times. Moo and his twin sister were once very close, and he still remembered his promise to care for his sisters and mother. At that time, Moo was a gentle and cheerful boy in a house full of love. But now all Minwoo could do was sit on a bench by his bike and cry. Tears kept coming to his eyes and he felt full of mixed-up feelings. He heard someone get an energy drink from the nearby vending machine. Moo looked and saw the person watching him, then joked if Moo was crying like a kid after losing. Moo said that he definitely wasn't crying. The guy looked at him doubtfully, clearly not trusting what Moo said. Then the guy turned his back and left. Still, Moo wanted to ask him for help. When Moo finally got his attention, the guy asked what Moo needed. Smiling and sure he'd say yes, Moo asked if he could stay at the guy's home for a night. The guy just walked away without answering. Moo kept trying, telling him it was only for one night as he had no money and nowhere to go. The guy said it wasn't his problem, which made Moo think of him as very cold. Still, Minwoo continued asking, promising it was just this once. Jay told him he had to focus on studying and told Moo to ask someone else. Moo answered that he had no one else. Jay then told him clearly that he couldn't help either. That was when Minwoo understood they were just classmates and nothing beyond that. Realizing this tough truth, Minwoo saw that he was completely alone now. He was left without a team or a place to stay. The few people who got near him only cared about how rich or high up his family was. Nobody around him really cared about who he was. They were just focused on his father's money. People approached him only because they knew he was a famous businessman's son. Moo, for comfort, also pretended when talking to everyone. His father was forever around dishonest and fake people. Moo always lived with this truth. For that reason, Moo started not showing who he really was, acting behind many masks. As a child, whenever Moo got honest and took off those masks, he was always left alone. When Moo was a child, he found a way to avoid feeling lonely. He got himself a bicycle. The bike became his safe place and he grew to love cycling, even starting his own cycling group. At first, the group had people who just liked riding bikes together. They named it Team Zephus. Sadly, Moo also lost his team later and things got harder for him when it started to rain. From the side of his vision, Moo saw a cat stuck in the rain, shaking because it was so cold. Looking closer, Moo understood he had seen this cat before. He wanted to check if it was the cat that once made him crash. Moo was upset with the cat for a second, but that quickly went away when he noticed the cat's hurt paw. Moo started to feel sorry for it. Being angry at the cat would not change anything, so he gave it some of his food. Moo could see the cat was friendly, eating out of his hand. As he looked more closely, Moo saw the cat could not go anywhere because its paw was hurt. Moo picked up the wet, shaking cat and saw that it was also alone, just like he was. Nearby, a boy with glasses and an umbrella was coming back home. When the boy got there, he saw a strange young man standing in the rain in front of his home. The boy saw Moo and remembered he was one of the boys who hung out with his brother, but he did not know why Moo was there. Moo also knew who the boy was and teasingly asked if he was that annoying kid from before. But the boy was more worried about the cat, which seemed more important to him. While watching the rain inside, the boy thought about everything he had seen. Wanting to help, the boy took an umbrella and went out to check on the young man. The boy was surprised to see his brother bringing the cat inside. Wondering about it, the boy asked where the cat had come from. His brother told him that the cat had been shaking in the rain, so he brought it inside. When he heard this, Moo felt a little kinder toward the boy who clearly cared. But the boy made it clear he brought the cat in because of the cold and only let Moo come because they were together. Moo thought he was wrong to expect much from that annoying kid. At the same time, Jay watched his brother take care of the cat and give it food. Next, Jay found himself looking at Moo, who was now in his home. Moo told Jay he would leave once the rain stopped and then stayed quiet. Suddenly, someone threw a towel onto Moo's head. Jay pointed toward the bathroom and told Moo to take a shower. Although he was surprised, Moo seemed to value the gesture, even if he did not show much expression. Jay quickly said that this was only for today and that Moo should not expect anything else from him. Still, Jay's younger brother thought it was odd to let Moo stay in their house, even though Moo said he wasn't homeless. Moo felt better after taking a shower. A warm shower and a tidy house were the best things for him. Moo said he was hungry and without waiting, opened the fridge to find something to eat. Just then Moo heard steps and a woman asking about a bicycle outside that she didn't know. When she walked into the kitchen, Jay's mother was shocked to see Moo looking through the fridge. Startled, Moo greeted the woman kindly. When she saw Moo, she realized that he was the son of one of the main people in town. She quickly made a dish for him and told Moo to feel at home. Moo was happy since fried chicken with sauce was his favorite food. Smiling, Jay's mother asked how he had made such an important friend. Jay just answered that they were not friends. Then Jay's younger brother reminded their mother that she always said friends were not helpful. Trying to stop him, Jay's mother tossed a chicken leg at her younger son. She told her younger son to finish his food and go study because exams were coming. All of a sudden, Jay's mother heard a cat meow. Looking at the stairs, she noticed a cat and asked where it came from. Jay's younger brother, already told off, saw Moo's face and blamed him, saying Minu brought in the cat. Right away, Jay's younger brother blamed Moo and ran to hug the cat, who he had already named Jack. Jay and his mother realized the boy had already given the cat a name. Not wanting to be obvious, Jay's mother smiled and told her younger son it would be best to return the cat after their guest left. But the boy, with sauce on his mouth and still holding the cat, acted as if he would do what his mother said. Noticing that Jay and Moo both had a few wounds on their faces, the woman asked if they had gotten into a fight. To dodge the question, Jay quickly took a drink of soda so he wouldn't have to reply. Moo was left to answer and he nervously said that he and Jay had fought some other boys. Jay's mother got angry and said she would go after those people, saying that no one had the right to hurt someone so important. She wanted to know what school the boys were from, but Moo said he wasn't sure because they wore regular clothes. Moo tried to soothe her, promising it wouldn't happen again. Jay quietly got up, thanked his mother for the meal, and went to his room with Moo and his mother watching him. Jay's mother said that Jay's grades were getting worse. She also warned that if this kept happening, Jay wouldn't be able to ride his bike anymore. Jay just said he understood and went to his room. Moo came in a little later since he was going to sleep there. When Moo saw Jay using the computer, he asked what Jay was doing. Jay only looked at Moo and didn't reply. Not long after, Moo was already on the bed, saying he was full and that the bed felt really soft. When he was almost asleep, Moo said he thought Jay's life was hard too because his mother always wanted him to be the top student. But Moo then said he envied Jay since Jay had a mother who was around and cared for him like that. Jay turned off the light and tried using his feet to push Moo off his bed. Moo said he couldn't sleep without a bed and asked if they could share it. Irritated, Jay made a spot on the floor so he could sleep there. To Moo's surprise, Jay started talking and asked him when he began biking. Moo answered that it was when he was a kid, after seeing another boy riding at the park thinking it looked like fun. Moo also said that the boy was probably really good now. That's when Moo suggested they start a cycling team together. Jay told Moo to quit talking nonsense and go to sleep because he was bothering him. Minu thought Jay was always like this and said Jay should be more cheerful sometimes. Moo also said he would be at Jay's house a few more days. This made Jay curious, so he got up to ask what Minu meant. Minu said that Jay's mother allowed Moo to stay as long as he wanted. Jay wasn't happy about it. Minu turned to the wall and texted his sister asking her to bring more clothes. Moo told his sister that he was fine at Jay's house and would sleep there. His sister asked for the address so she could bring the clothes. Shortly after, Moo got sleepy and fell asleep. In the morning, the smell of food cooking in the kitchen caught Moo's attention. While he was still half asleep, Minu went to find out what was happening. With blurry eyes, Minu thought he saw an old woman cooking. But once he woke up, he saw it was Jay wearing an apron with a cat pattern. Jay said his mother had left early to go to work. Minu couldn't stop laughing as he thought it was really funny. He asked Jay if he was dressing up for fun. Minu joked about taking a picture and posting it online, but he was laughing so much that he couldn't take it. Minu then asked about Jay's little brother, who was outside playing with Jack. Moo thought it was odd that the boy was up early to play with the cat. When Moo saw what Jay was making, he thought the breakfast was special for him. Moo had already picked up a spoon before noticing that the food wasn't for him. Moo asked Jay where he was taking the food, and Jay told him it was meant for the cat. Moo protested, saying he was very hungry and that Jay shouldn't feed the cat his food. Jay replied by telling Moo to make his own breakfast. At the same time, somewhere else in the city, Sunny High's principal was getting ready for another day at work. His phone rang and he wondered who was calling so early. When he heard Shelley, his granddaughter, on the other end, he felt happy and wanted to know how she was doing. Shelley said she would be returning to Korea and wanted to meet him. The principal answered with a smile that he was looking forward to it. Shelley agreed that she would call when she got there. The nice blonde girl in her room with a bike clearly liked cycling too. In the early morning, Moo was taking care of his bike, making sure everything was okay. Moo was caught off guard when his sister, Yuna, appeared with the clothes he had asked for the day before. Yuna wanted to know what Moo was doing. Moo said he was just fixing the bike because it had gotten wet the previous day. Yuna, who wasn't a fan of her brother's bike, handed him the bag of clothes and told him to stop being so stubborn and go back home. Yuna said she would take care of their dad, but Moo did not look convinced. Surprised, Yuna said it was odd that Mu liked staying at Jay's place and she didn't expect Jay to be so friendly with him. Mu answered that things were working out fine even though Jay was a bit stubborn. Yuna asked if he wanted a ride to school in the family car, but Mu proudly said no. He wanted to use his bike and suggested that Yuna should try biking as well. Ignoring his idea, Yuna said bye for now and told him not to be late. Yuna left for school in her car while Mu stayed with his bike. As Mu said goodbye, Kay, who had been there unnoticed, asked if Yuna was his girlfriend. At that moment, Mu noticed Kay. Upset, Mu replied that he would never have such an ugly girlfriend and told him she was his sister. Afterward, Mu wanted to know how long Kay had been there. Kay ignored this and started talking to the cat Jack, saying that it was clear someone like Mu, a delinquent staying over at someone's house, couldn't have a girlfriend. Mu thought to himself that if Kay were his brother he would already have taught him a lesson. Grinning, Kay said goodbye to the cat, said he needed to go to school and asked Jack to look after the house. Mu remained with the cat. At the same time, Jay, who was getting ready for school, ignored Mu but looked at him when Mu spoke. Mu wanted to know if Jay was going to ride his bike to school. Jay answered that he wasn't sure and then asked why. Mu said he didn't have any money for the bus and would use his bike, and he suggested they go together because it would be more enjoyable. Jay just stared at him without answering. Soon both were on the bike path. Not used to riding there, Mu complained about the poor design of the bike path, full of things like trees and fire extinguishers. Jay, though, didn't mind because he was used to riding his bike in that area. Mu proposed that they go through the park instead, since it would be a calmer way. Mu even suggested skipping class to continue biking, but Jay's look showed he didn't like the idea. Mu also saw Jay without a helmet and told him he could get one for him. But soon Mu remembered he had no money and gave up on the idea. Jay, used to his friend's talk, told him to stop joking and keep riding. Mu wanted to race to school, but Jay refused, saying he could just race with himself. At school, everything was normal, loud, and full of chatter. Mia looked impressed by what Yuna was saying. Mia said she never thought she'd see Mu and Jay getting along so well. Yuna nodded and said it looked like they only started being friendly not long ago. Mia laughed at Yuna's words and told her to be careful since people might take it the wrong way. Yuna reminded Mia about the student council meeting on the weekend, which would be in a cafe. Mia liked the plan but asked if Jay would let it happen outside school. Yuna said that since most department heads were girls, they could convince Jay. Happy, Mia said this would be a chance for a date with her dear Jay. Yuna said she was helping Mia, but she also needed to make sure they eventually stayed alone. Blushing, Mia told her she didn't need that much help. Dom Kang, hearing them, said he might join the meeting and asked if he could come. Upset, Yuna told him he wasn't on the council and asked what he wanted to do there. Dom Kang offered to assist her, but Yuna told him to stop playing around. He kept going, asking her to go see a zombie movie with him after the meeting. Mia, watching from far away, thought they looked like a good pair, but Yuna said she didn't like that kind of movie. Then Mia looked outside and saw Jay and Mu coming on their bikes. She told Yuna that she wanted to get a bike, especially because the weather had been nice. Yuna said that if Mia got a bike, she should ask Jay to teach her to ride. Dom Kang, butting in again, said he would buy a bike too, but Yuna said she didn't care. As Minu walked into school with his bike, the girls, as usual, stared at him. Nearby, two boys were busy reading a magazine with pictures of attractive girls. The class leader came and stopped their fun, saying she needed everything to be tidy. Not happy, the two boys could do nothing. At that moment, they saw Mu enter with his bike and leave it in a corner. Interested, one of the boys asked Mu why he brought his bike inside. Mu replied by asking if he knew how much the bicycle cost and said he couldn't just leave it outside. When the boy wanted to know the price, he was shocked when Mu told him the amount. He thought it was too expensive and said the bicycle might as well be made of gold. Still, the boy said he wanted to ride the bike, but after seeing how high the seat was, he gave up, feeling annoyed. During Jay's class, Yuna showed up to talk about the next student council meeting. She told him that everyone wanted to have it at a cafe and asked what he thought about it. Jay didn't seem happy about it, but Yuna decided that's how it would be and left humming. Afterwards, Yuna told Mia that everything had worked out and told her to dress nicely to leave a good impression. Just thinking about it made Mia turn red, feeling worried since she wasn't used to fancy clothes. In her room, Mia didn't know what to do. She wondered what would be best to wear for something as special as the cafe meeting. With clothes all over her bed, she put on outfit after outfit in front of the mirror, not sure what to choose. She was also worried about her hair and makeup. Her phone suddenly rang and interrupted her worry. It was her friend Yuna calling to see if she was ready since Yuna was on her way to pick her up. Feeling stressed, Mia said she'd be ready in a few minutes. With little time to get ready, she grabbed a dress she thought looked fine and did what she could quickly. At Jay's house, things were quiet. Minu, feeling bored, complained about not having money and nothing to do over the weekend. Looking outside, he saw couples walking and noticed Kay, who was really into cats. And he saw Jay getting ready. Minu asked where he was going. Jay said he had to go to a student council meeting. Mu was surprised and questioned why there was a meeting on the weekend, then asked if he could come too because he was bored. Jay said no and told him he wanted to go alone. Mu looked unhappy but said he'd take care of the house and asked Jay to bring something back like ice cream. Jay just looked at him and didn't say anything. At the cafe for the meeting, things were peaceful and a few people were sitting at the tables. One couple was having a good time, but Yuna's group felt awkward at their table. Yuna saw Dom Kang not far away, happily talking about how good the cafe's bagels were. Mia arrived a little late feeling shy, and told them she hadn't expected everyone to be there already. She looked more dressed up, which at first made Dom Kang confused as he didn't know who she was. This made Mia even more uneasy, until she told him he should know her by her voice. Yuna became happy seeing Mia without her glasses and said she should use contact lenses more often. Mia thanked her for the kind words and explained it was just for a little while. One guy at the meeting, while flirting with his girlfriend, said that Mia looked really good without glasses. But his girlfriend got upset with him and called him a pig. Dom Kang, watching the couple, asked Yuna if she wanted to argue with him like that too, but Yuna did not answer him. At another table, Vinnie looked upset. His friends were talking about another group who stared at them and seemed to judge them. Vinnie saw that the people at that table were talking about how he looked, especially his left eye that was a different color, saying it must be a contact lens or some cosplay. Fed up with the comments, Vinnie had the smart idea to stand up and face the group. Vinnie took one of their coffee cups, pretended to drink, and said the coffee tasted sour. Everyone looked at him now. Vinnie then asked the group if his eye color was so strange that it bothered them. He even joked and asked if they wanted to take his eye out to see if it was real. The guys at the table were surprised and asked him to stop, but Vinnie, acting friendly, kicked their table, making a scene and causing one of them to fall off his chair. All the noise got Dom Kang's attention, who was with his friends. Vinnie kept pushing the group, put his foot on one of the guys who fell, and asked if he wanted to hear more. Vinnie then spilled hot coffee on another guy by accident, although he said it wasn't on purpose. A girl in the group asked for help to stop the mess, but no one stepped in because it just looked like an argument. Seeing the hot coffee spill, Dom Kang tried to grab Vinnie's hand to prevent more problems. Still, Vinnie did not like Dom Kang getting involved and gave him a cold stare, showing he was annoyed. The mood became tense as Dom Kang tried to settle things down. While Dom Kang tried to make peace, Vinnie kept pouring hot drinks on a guy, accidentally spilling the rest. The guy who had made fun of Vinnie's looks and different eye and hair color was now on the floor, crawling back like a scared dog. He begged for help, asking someone to call the police to stop the crazy person. Vinnie gently flicked Dom Kang's cap with his finger and asked what the matter was. Dom Kang just stared at Vinnie, who had just touched his cap but didn't touch him at all. At that point, Yuna caught Dom Kang's eye. When he heard her, he turned to listen to what she wanted to say. Yuna told Dom Kang to keep his hands down and not to cause issues, at least for now. Dom Kang fixed his hair but still looked at Vinnie, though now in a different way. As this happened, Vinnie's friend tried to help so things wouldn't get worse. Speaking softly, Vinnie's friend told Vinnie it was better to go before things got bad. As always, Vinnie, being different, stuck his tongue out at Dom Kang before leaving. When Vinnie walked away, he said they could finish their talk in a more private place. After hearing the teasing words, Dom Kang bent down, took the cap and put it on his head. Then Dom Kang walked up to Yuna and said that he had not caused any problems that day. Yuna looked satisfied but did not openly show it. She just told him he did well. Somewhere else, the sound of high heels and a stylish suitcase caught attention in the crowd. Men could not help staring, their mouths almost open because the blonde woman was so beautiful that everyone looked at her. Even women paused to look at her. Some couples had mild arguments when their partners looked at her for too long. In the middle of the crowd, a self-assured man who thought he was good-looking decided to try his luck. He fixed his hair and appearance before telling his friend about how lovely the European woman was. With pride, he said he knew enough French and started walking towards her, sure his personality would win her over. Before going to her, he told his friend not to be concerned because his plan was almost all confidence and a little French. The friend, doubting him, thought he would not stand a chance since the blonde seemed too special. The woman, seeing all the looks, thought about how expected and annoying some men could be. When he finally stood near her and tried to speak French to impress her, she calmly said they could talk in Korean. Finding his actions strange, she simply answered his questions about if she spoke Korean and where she was from. The man said he was drinking coffee when he saw someone as beautiful as an angel and felt he had to follow her. He went on to ask if she had a boyfriend. Giving her his phone, he asked her to put her number in so they could talk again. The woman took his phone and wrote something down. As a cyclist rode by, she was also typing on her own phone. Just then, two men on a scooter showed up. The rider wore an Iron Man mask. The second guy pointed out their target up ahead. It was the blonde woman carrying what looked like a pricey suitcase. They rushed toward her as she still had the man's phone. She coolly gave the phone back, saying she would message him later. The man, feeling sure of himself, thought she was only pretending not to be interested. Still, he believed he did well. But when he looked at the number she gave, he realized it was not real. While he looked at his phone, the two scooter riders zoomed by and grabbed the woman's bag. Carrying her bag like a prize, they got away as fast as they could. The woman, upset her bag was stolen, tried to respond but could not do anything. The cyclist, moving fast and wearing a hood, noticed what happened. Even though he looked rushed, he seemed to know exactly where he was going. After the director's granddaughter Jay noticed the cyclist ride by right after the theft done by two men on a scooter. She pedaled as fast as she could, wanting to see what he was up to. Some construction workers were resting, enjoying their cigarettes. They jumped when Jay rushed past them and took a worker's helmet to use. Now, with his head protected, he could pedal fast without being in danger. At the cafe, the cleaning crew was getting the place ready for new guests. They wished that the customers could just relax with coffee instead of making a mess. Some people watched them clean and were upset by how much mess there was. The young man who had enjoyed his girlfriend's caring earlier thought that if the problem wasn't solved, he would have stepped in himself. He remembered when he was called bloody prey in school. Dom Kang then said he didn't want to fight, just scare people a bit. Even so, the girls were glad for his courage. But Yuna disagreed. She told him not to act tough because being brave meant thinking things through, which he hadn't done. Still, Mia had something she'd always wanted to ask him. She wondered if he felt like telling her how he really felt. She smiled, a bit embarrassed, and said that was not it. She wanted to know why he kept a band-aid on his upper lip. He thought it wasn't funny and touched his upper lip, asking if that's what she meant. Yuna said someone would have asked sooner or later. Mia was really curious and wanted to know what he hid under the band-aid because he always covered it. She promised it could be their secret. He offered to show her but said she couldn't tell anyone. When he took off the band-aid, she finally saw what he was hiding. The girls noticed that all he had been hiding was a mustache. They thought it was odd for a student in high school to already have a mustache. One of the boys at their table thought the mustache was really nice. He liked it so much that he pictured himself with a mustache and beard, thinking it might make him look grown up. Mia couldn't believe he was still in high school but had a mustache. The boy guessed Dom Kang was using something special, maybe a strong gel that helped his beard grow, which he thought would make someone look more manly. He begged Dom Kang to let him have some, even just to try it out. Dom Kang said he couldn't share because it was rare and only found on the black market. The girls didn't get why he would try so hard to have a mustache just to keep it hidden under a band-aid later. He said the mustache made him look older and tougher for his part-time job. He told them the teachers couldn't know or he would have to shave it right away. That is why he always covered it with the band-aid. Mia then realized that's why he always seemed tired in class. His part-time job wore him out. The girl wanted to know what her friend's father did for work that required him to do things like that too. He said that his father took care of the management part of an organization, but to others, it didn't really look that way. He seemed more like a mafia boss, meeting with other important people like himself. When they were together, it felt much scarier, but as gangsters, they had to stay calm. Still, his father was coming back to Korea that day. The girl wanted to know if he did office work in the organization like a typical government worker or something else close to that. He only laughed out loud, hoping to lighten the mood and change the topic. Mia, hoping to avoid the conversation, picked up a ticket and said she would go get more coffee. She left the table happy, walking off to get coffee while someone began snapping pictures of her. It looked like someone had noticed how nice she looked, since at that time she seemed truly beautiful. Somewhere else, the student council president was riding his bike as fast as he could, wearing a borrowed helmet, chasing after the robbers. Men on the motorcycle thought they were lucky, but then realized they had someone following them. They were shocked to see someone coming after them on a bicycle. They couldn't believe a person would try to catch up to a motorcycle on a bike. But when they checked the mirror, they did see he was actually following them. They thought there's no way he'd get close with only a bike. He would need a better plan than that. Even so, Jay kept pedaling faster and moved in and out between cars so he wouldn't lose the motorcycle. While Jay kept following the motorcycle on his bike, they had taken the blonde woman's purse. He showed he was good at overcoming obstacles and hard paths. He was able to ride up ramps, jump over short walls, and avoid cars easily. He had no trouble with any of that. Though using a shortcut to cut off the thieves was not too hard for him. He was so familiar with these moments that he now found himself biking on top of a wall. Nearby, on a nearby court, a group of boys were playing with a ball. One boy kicked it strongly and the ball went right toward the boy riding along the wall. The little children watching were amazed and wondered if he was in some kind of bike squad because he could actually pedal on the wall. Some of them were impressed and thought that riding a bike was actually better than playing ball if you could choose. Even so, he stayed on the wall and used his shortcut, and finally he saw the motorcycle. The motorcycle rider said the biker had startled him for a few moments, but then saw it was pointless. But the motorcycle rider got much more scared when he saw the bike flying. After picking up speed on the wall, the biker was really up in the air. He went right past some kids eating ice cream. They were very amazed to watch a man flying with a bicycle. The motorcyclists were both amazed and afraid at the same time. The kids watching thought everything was fantastic. Seeing someone ride a bike in such a bold way was amazing. Even though the cyclist threw the bike at the motorcycle to stop the thieves, the kids were still excited to see it flying. The cyclist got up and landed among some boxes along with the motorcyclists. He just looked at the thieves, who tried to escape but left the bag behind since they didn't want to get chased again. Shell soon arrived in a white car and asked how the cyclist cyclist was feeling. He might have had a small wound on his head or forehead, but the helmet made it hard to see. Shell offered to drive him to the hospital, but he just gave her the bag, set his bicycle straight, and continued carrying it because it was too damaged to ride. Shell still tried to help and was worried he could be badly injured. When she saw he wouldn't go, she just thanked him for getting the bag back. Jay pulled out his phone, made a call, and told someone he couldn't get there on time because he was in an accident. Yuna became concerned and asked if he was injured or if there was something she could do. Dom Kang, curious, asked what happened. Yuna said Jay had a bicycle accident and wouldn't be able to make it to the meeting. This conversation made Mia ask if Jay was all right. Yuna replied that from his voice, Jay did not sound seriously hurt, but he didn't give much information. Someone suggested Jay might not want to come to the meeting and used this as an excuse. Yuna answered that Jay was not a person who skips out on things. Everyone agreed they would wait a little longer and then leave. Mia seemed a bit sad and said she was going to the restroom. Inside, she stared in the mirror, thinking that nothing made sense and still wished Jay was fine. When she left, a man came to her and used the name C.J. Kim, saying that he worked for SC magazine. He said he had seen her and thought she looked like the kind of model they wanted. If she was interested, she could reach out to him. He gave her a card, saying she could call him if she ever wanted. Mia was amazed by what happened and stared at the card in surprise. Mia, Yuna, and Dom Kang told the rest of the group goodbye and said they would see them at school. After that, the friends talked about how unlucky it was that Jay had missed it, since Mia had tried very hard. Mia looked really nice, and Yuna cheered her up and said there would surely be another time. Yuna was also curious about the man Mia had met near the bathroom. Mia showed the card and explained who he was. Looking at the card, Yuna said that the fashion magazine was well known, so the man probably had good intentions. At the same time, Moo was at Jay's house watching a music program while the cat played with a ball on the floor nearby. Moo hugged a pillow while sitting on the floor, thinking it was quite dull to stay at home by himself. Meanwhile, Jay was carrying his bicycle to get it fixed when he walked into a special shop. He politely greeted them. In front of him stood a girl wearing a military hat and tattoos. The girl, friendly and dressed in a white tank top, greeted him. Jay told her he came to get his bicycle repaired. She then remembered seeing him during race day and asked if he recognized her since she had watched the race video. But she noticed he didn't remember what she meant. Jay seemed to easily forget people and events. Jay was there for the bicycle repair, but she decided to put on a bandage as he had a little cut on his forehead. He was not happy because he wanted her to work on his bike as soon as possible, not to worry about him. Jay told her he knew what her work was, yet still pointed out that his bike needed to come first, even after she helped with the cut. While checking the bicycle, she saw it was badly broken. The fork and front wheel were ruined. Still, at least the frame was okay, which comforted her since Jay had wrecked the bike while chasing the thieves. Even though the girl was beautiful and her tank top showed off her tattoos, Jay was paying attention to the photo of his uncle on the wall instead. That picture reminded him of old times, especially the last stage of the bicycle race in France, which was almost finished. Jay thought back to watching that amazing race on his computer, with a Korean rider leading for the first time ever. Then an English racer came from behind going faster. Mark moved ahead and passed the Korean cyclist right away. Both racers pushed toward the finish line, and Jay remembered his uncle telling him to chase after his dream if he had one. Back then, young Jay said his goal was to be a doctor, but his uncle reminded him to choose a dream for himself, not just for his parents. Jay replied that he could not be anyone but a student, and his only option was to study hard to make his parents happy. His uncle said that studying wasn't a real dream since it was rather dull. Studying was needed, yes, yet doing what you loved was even better in life. Hearing those words, Jay wished to discover something he could really enjoy. So he asked his uncle about his dream. The uncle smiled and said he dreamed of being the best in the cycling world. Jay's uncle didn't know if he could achieve it, but he wanted it with all his heart and felt that dedication made anything possible. On that race day, Jay's uncle became the first Korean cyclist ever to win that last stage. Jay remembered watching the race when his parents reminded him about his homework and told him to turn off his computer and sleep early. Jay remembered shutting down the computer calmly, feeling proud he thought his uncle had done it and believed anything in the world could happen. His childhood memories faded away as Harry asked Jay if he knew the cyclist, saying the cyclist was not well known in Korea. In Korea, cycling was a serious sport, and Jay's uncle was a national cyclist who had come first in many Asian contests. Harry also said the cyclist had won the last stage of the Tour de France. Ma Joe, it was a goal for all cyclists. Harry then turned to Jay and asked if he knew the cyclist. Jay answered that Ma Joe was his uncle. Harry had guessed that already because she recognized the bike Jay used before he became a rider training on the road. She had noticed the name on the bike too, since cyclists like to name their bikes, and she showed where it was written to Jay. The bike was called Mahan Joe. That was when Jay asked Harry how she knew his uncle. Harry said she liked Mahan Joe so much that she became the leader of a special fan club made just for him. After that, Harry started thinking about what it would take to fix the bike. She realized the front part needed replacing and suggested Jay come back in 2 days. Jay didn't look pleased about leaving the bike there, but he agreed to return later. Harry then told him to hold on a second. She gave Jay a flyer, saying he might be interested in joining the street league because they were holding a long-distance race. The person who came first would win 100,001 as a prize, as well as a chance to compete in a world event. Jay quickly said no, but Harry told him that if he changed his mind and wanted to join with friends to contact her. Jay told her that he had exams coming up next month and just couldn't join. Harry smiled and agreed, but said Jay should pick up his bike and go to the hospital too. Jay left and walked away, but as he felt in his pocket for something, he noticed his wallet was gone. At home, he was bored and listening to music, not knowing his wallet was missing. Shell's grandfather was thrilled to arrive and see his favorite granddaughter. He told her he had missed her a lot. When Shelley was looking through Jay's wallet, she saw he was a student at a school. Shelley asked her grandfather if she could register at Jay's school because she wanted to study there for a while. Moo was very surprised by Jay's bruised face when he saw him. It was so bad that Moo even asked if Jay had gotten into an accident. Jay, annoyed and quiet, just said that something had happened to him. Moo asked why Jay got hurt all the time and asked where he had left the bike. Jay answered that he had left the bike at the repair shop. It was then that Moo saw the bike also had some damage. Moo felt sad since he knew Jay couldn't ride with him for a while. Upset, Moo realized he'd have to go to school alone the next day. Meanwhile, Jay's younger brother was sleeping peacefully on the living room carpet with his friend Jack nearby. The next morning at school, everyone gathered around Jay, asking if he was hurt in the accident. Dom Kang, already thinking of Jay as his friend, wondered if Jay felt well since everyone had worried about him at the cafe the day before. Dom Kang let everyone know that Moo especially was greatly worried. Hearing Dom Kang speak, Moo rushed to cover his mouth and keep him from speaking more. Yuna wanted Jay to tell them honestly what happened when they were heading to the cafe. Jay, who didn't like being bothered, said it wasn't a big deal and they should forget about it and go back to studying. The teacher came in and told everyone to sit because he had some news. He asked everyone to be quiet so they could listen to him. He let the class know that a new exchange student would be joining the school. He told Shelley to enter and not to be nervous since everyone was waiting to meet her. Then the confident blonde girl walked into the room. Everyone became quiet, amazed at Shell's incredible looks. The teacher said that Shelley came from England and had just transferred to their school. He explained she would only stay in Korea for 1 semester and asked everyone to help her and be kind. He told Shelley to quickly introduce herself. She told the class her name was Shell and mentioned she liked traveling and riding bikes. The class got excited, thinking someone super special had joined them. Yuna at the same time was surprised and thought her classmates were acting silly. Yuna was still upset by the boy's behavior. Dom Kang thought the girl was pretty, but he still felt Yuna was more appealing. But Yuna's crush didn't care at all about the opinions or words others said. Instead, she found out what was causing all the attention. She saw the director hiding and watching, making sure his granddaughter would fit in with everyone. He noticed that everyone in the class was only looking at his little Shelley. But the director got caught by the janitor who saw him spying. Inside the class, the teacher looked for where Shelley should sit. With confidence, Shell said she would choose a seat herself. Ignoring her goal, Shelley picked out the best seat and walked past him. After seeing he ignored her, Shelley gave him a quick kiss on the cheek, leaving everyone shocked. Mia felt surprised and hurt. While the boys were amazed that the new girl already kissed someone, the director was angry at his granddaughter's actions and didn't want the boy to kiss her in return. The janitor stepped in and moved the director away since his actions were not okay. The teacher also scolded them for this odd behavior at school. Jay was surprised when Shell kissed him, so he wiped his face and asked her what she was doing. Shelley told him that she hadn't had a chance to thank him for getting her bag from the Imagine X line. She gave him back his wallet which he had dropped and said she had kept it safe. Shell looked seriously at the boy sitting next to Jay and told him she wanted to sit there, asking if he could show her the seat. Feeling shy, the boy said he didn't mind and added that it wouldn't be right not to offer Shelley his seat. Yuna remembered that Jay had missed yesterday's meeting because of Shell. Mia didn't like that Shell kissed him in front of the class and thought it wasn't needed. June was reading the race flyer when Moo quickly ran past him. June wanted to find out why Moo was in such a hurry. Moo answered that they could talk later because he just heard a new exchange student was in the class. June wanted to share something important with his friend, but Moo wasn't listening. Everyone was talking about how that nerd kissed a blonde angel. Still, June wanted to tell Minu about the race flyer but decided to wait for now. He would tell later that Jay was taking part in the tournament they both liked. Minu came to the classroom out of breath, searching for the nerd who kissed the blonde angel. But by then, Jay's desk was surrounded by boys wanting to know where he had met such a pretty girl and how he knew her. The girls kept looking at Shell while discussing her hair and asking how she knew Jay. Shelley glanced at Jay and saw Moo wave at her, saying he was from class 3. Shelley replied that this is what she wanted to mention and that she was happy to meet him. Moo then went over to Jay and put his hand on his shoulder, saying he wanted to talk, but Jay told Moo to come back later because he was busy. Moo grabbed Jay's arm and said he should stop pretending and just say what he needed, even if it took just a minute. That time Shelley was looking at them both. Moo then asked Jay how long he and Shell had been together and why things with her were happening so fast. Jay quickly said that he wasn't with Shell. Moo thought Jay was lying and asked him to explain what really happened. Jay told him that Shell just appeared and suddenly kissed him. Mu was surprised that Shell kissed Jay for no reason and wondered why Jay hadn't talked about her before, especially since they were living together. Everyone nearby started making guesses, thinking Jay had betrayed Mu with Shell. Mu, trying to not look weak, told everyone that they got the wrong idea. A student from the school newspaper took a picture to save the moment. Just then, a boy with orange hair passed by and smelled Shell's blonde hair. Shelley softly tapped his cheek to tell him to stay away. Mia, who had seen the whole thing, stood up, almost unable to believe what just happened. Mia felt very sad, and the talking from the other students didn't make her feel any better. Mia thought about the times when she was bullied at school, especially by people she thought were her friends and classmates. She remembered a day in particular when they went too far, dropping her books on the ground and breaking her glasses. Mia felt heartbroken because her glasses were costly and she needed them to see. That was when Jay came over to Mia and asked about her glasses prescription. After Mia replied, he said he had the same prescription and offered her his spare pair. He always carried an extra pair since he often broke his own glasses. That's how Mia got to know Jay back in middle school. Mia knew Jay was not comfortable socializing and almost never showed his feelings, but nobody was nicer than him. That was when Mia started liking him. It was very hard for her to show her feelings, mostly because she had been bullied since middle school. Because of this, she lost her self-confidence and started to dislike talking to others. When class finished, Jay walked out quietly. Then he heard a voice he really didn't want to hear again. It was Mu, showing the flyer June gave him, who called Jay a nerd and asked about his teeth. The flyer was for a race, and Mu said the first prize was 100 million won, which was a lot since Mu had no money right now. Mu tried to convince Jay to form a team for the event, saying they could win some cash. Jay, as usual, refused and told Mu to leave him alone. Minu pushed, saying that if they joined, they could maybe even be on TV and become known. Shelley watched from far away, seeing Jay and Mu while Minu tried to talk Jay into entering. Just as Shell was going to shout and ask if she could go with Jay, her grandfather showed up. He asked her where she thought she was off to. Shelley said she wanted to see a friend, but her grandfather held her by her hood, telling her the friend could wait since he wanted to talk to her first. Grandfather wanted to know what Shelley was up to and insisted she come home with him. She was unhappy because she wanted to go after Jay, but her grandfather led her away. When Jay got home, he took a shower and was about to study when Mu came by again with the same flyer. Mu said that if Jay fixed the bike, they could join the race together. But Jay didn't want to talk about it anymore. The TV was on, showing an interview with an Asian biking representative. It was Sancho Choi, who was supposed to take part in a street league cycling festival. Minu already knew Sancho Choi was very popular, and that he was known as Korea's best cyclist and would race in the event. When people asked about the race, Sancho Choi answered that he planned to ride the last part with the amateur team who won. At the same time, Jay and Jun argued about who could use the remote, but Mu just wanted to keep watching the interview. They discussed Mahan Jo, an Asian cycling champion who had died 2 years ago because of an accident after a doping test. Sancho Choi felt sad over Mahan Jo's death, saying that if Mahan Jo was still living, he would have had to quit cycling because of doping problems. Hearing all this, Jay thought about Jo's nice and gentle face and felt sad because of Sancho's comments. He also spoke against using doping to do better and hoped that other cyclists wouldn't take the same route. At the same time, Mu and Jay argued about the remote until Jay got up and said he would take part in the competition. Mu was confused and thought he might not have heard correctly. Late at night in a public square, Jay, Mu, and June were all there. June wanted to know if Jay truly planned to join the team with them. Jay said yes, especially after hearing what Sancho Choi said about his uncle. He felt he couldn't just brush it off. Mu wanted to know what made Jay suddenly agree to join. Jay thought back to the interview, which made him upset, but he wasn't ready to explain things to his friends. Mu asked if Jay was interested because of the prize or because they could compete against international teams. But for Jay, nothing mattered more than proving to Sancho Choi that his uncle didn't take drugs to win and clearing his uncle's name. Jun was happy that Jay was joining no matter the reason. Now there was one thing to sort out. They still needed more members to actually be a team. Mu thought maybe his old team members would also enter and become their rivals. June told Mu to stop caring about the past. It was over. Now you could start a new team, and Mu had to think of a good name. June agreed and said that a name for the team was necessary. June wanted to hear their ideas for team names. Jay kept quiet and Minu looked thoughtful. Then Mu suggested calling the team Super Cool, but June thought that name sounded too childish. After that, they wondered if names like Super Other Team, Giant Team, Tiger Team, or Legendary Team would be better. June thought they weren't making progress, so they decided to pick the name some other day. Jay thought that Mu must be on the same side as the devil because of his silly ideas. Mu really hoped the team would be named Super Cool because it sounded great to him. The next day in class, the English lesson went on. Minu was still finding it hard to figure out a new team name. He had never found something this tough to do before. During break time, the three of them met to suggest names, and Mu showed them the team name ideas he made last night. Mu insisted they should simply go with Super Cool as their team's name. Jay, getting annoyed, said he wouldn't agree to such a silly name. Moo asked what name Jay thought was better. Jay answered anything except super cool. Moo got angry because he believed the name was perfect, and Jay wasn't even trying to offer another idea. Just then Shell popped up behind Jay, but he kept ignoring her and acted like she wasn't there. When she learned about the bike team, she got excited and wanted to take part, thinking it sounded like a super cool plan. June kindly told the blonde girl the race might be risky for a girl. Moo, on the other hand, quickly welcomed her by saying she could join because she was pretty and always welcome. He said that as long as she could ride a bike, he would handle everything else. Feeling annoyed, the girl replied that she was a really good rider. Mia had been very sad ever since she saw the new girl in class kissing Jay. Her friend Yuna tried to comfort her, asking why she had been so upset since the day before. Mia tried to play it off, saying she wasn't feeling well. Then Dom Kang joined their chat. He said all she needed was some energy and that listening to some cool hip-hop would help. Shelley also talked about the team name, which made Moo suggest the goddess and her helpers. June noticed that his friend always acted funnier when a girl was there. Hearing their talk, Dom Kang wondered why they kept leaving him out. He was really sad, saying he believed they were friends. Dom Kang said that after that night in the room, he thought he and Jay would always be together. Mia felt even more unhappy seeing Jay around the new girl and her friends. Mia stood still as the girl became part of the group. It was something Mia had always hoped she could do herself. Yuna saw that her friend looked more upset than normal. While this was happening, Dom Kang was acting up because he wanted to be on the bike team too. Blonde girl just looked at Moo. Now the five of them were together trying to pick a team name. Moo wanted to know why Demang was still there. Dom Kang said it was because he was going to be on the team too. Someone then asked if he even owned a bike. Dom Kang said he was going to buy a used one online. Wu told him they could talk more once he had the bike. Since they all went to the same school, they thought about naming the team after it, but no one liked that idea. It sounded too silly. Shelley mentioned that none of them were good at picking names. While Shell's grandfather watched her hang out with the four boys, wanted to call the team Super, saying he didn't cool. Shell's grandfather, who was the wanted to call the team Principal, got upset because she was spending time with boys again. But when he saw Shell happy, he noticed he hadn't seen her smile like that in a long time. As Shell's grandfather drank his juice, a hummingbird flew close to Dom Kang. The small hummingbird was also bothering both Dom Kang and Moo, who at first thought it was just a bug. Someone guessed it might be a hummingbird, but June said there were no Cyrillic letter 456 hummingbirds in Korea. June thought it could be a hawk moth since people often mistake them because they look alike. He also said the hummingbird can flap its wings faster than any other bird, at least 90 times each second, and it's very good at quick moves. Moo found it amazing that it could flap its wings 90 times every second, even as he told Dom Kang not to take his smoothie. Moo started thinking, what if someone could pedal a bike 90 times a second? That would be faster than a motorcycle. He pictured himself pedaling as quickly as a hummingbird. Minu's thoughts got June, Jay, and Shell's attention. Dom Kang asked how a hummingbird was related to all of this. At the same time, the poster about the race was being shared in many places, making a lot of people interested. A few well-known people wanted to join, while some others, a bit confused, believed they could win with a bike named Sina-chan. The news was also heard by TJ, sounded very Mia and Jay exciting. Classroom sounded very Mia and Jay exciting, remained and erased writing from the board. Mia asked Jay if he really was going out with the exchange student. Jay didn't like it and asked Mia what she meant. Mia felt a little shy and said this was only what people at school were saying, and she wondered if it was true. Jay told her that he and the girl weren't together and asked who was coming up with such stories. Mia answered that she felt better now since it just looked like they were making a team. Jay told her the team was for cycling, thought that Mia sounded answered and that she felt asked for the better now team's name. Jay answered that they picked the name Hummingbird. Mia liked the name a lot and found it cute. Then she wondered if they had designed a logo or a symbol yet. If they had not, she could make one for them. Mia told Jay she wanted to be a designer after graduation, so if Jay liked the idea, she could make something for the team. Jay told Mia that if she wanted, she was free to make something for him. Smiling and feeling shy, Mia said she would love to. Jay told Mia to hurry because he wanted to leave. Later, Mia told Jay she was planning to get a bike soon and asked if he would help her learn how to ride whenever he had time. Jay said he would help her learn when he was free. The girl was very happy after hearing what Jay said. After school, Jay headed straight to the bicycle shop to get the bike he left for repairs. Harry said he got there later than she had expected. At Dom Kang's house, Dom Kang said he was home. His father asked him to join him and the old man for a drink, but Dom Kang said he was tired and had work soon. His father told Dom Kang he should look a bit more pleased to see him or else it would make him feel bad. Then his father wondered if Dom Kang was seeing several girls at school. Dom Kang answered definitely not. His father said that when he was Dom Kang's age, he didn't take things so seriously and always enjoyed himself. One of his father's men told him not to bother Dom Kang and went back to his meal. That was when Dom Kang asked his father if he could buy him a bike for exercise. His father thought it was odd Dom Kang suddenly wanted a bike and then asked how much they cost now. The man answered that for at least 50,000 you could get a decent bike. Dom Kang's father said he would give him that amount, handed over the money, and told him to get a good bike. Dom Kang thought his father must be joking when he heard the amount. He wondered where he could find a bike that cheap. He thought it was silly and wasn't sure how he'd buy a bike for only 50,000. Dom Kang later saw a new bike on a website that was priced at 100,000. He thought it seemed odd because it came with no pictures but decided it would be okay to buy it for himself. A henchman suggested that he should send the seller a message. Dom Kang, feeling nervous, thought about asking the seller for a much lower price. Then he worried it might all be a trick. The henchman said that nobody would try such a simple scam. But if the seller ran with the money, he said he'd handle it. But the seller quickly answered, saying it was fine to give the bike for just 50,000. Now Dom Kang felt very fortunate about this. He could now join the group. Meanwhile, the seller guessed the buyer was a middle or high school student because he didn't have enough money. By now, the scammer already had the money from the person who just sent it. The scammer also thought the kid wouldn't risk reporting it to the police since it was only a bike. At the same time, Harry, the girl at the bike shop, was happy that Jay was going to take part in the competition with those boys. She told him it was wonderful and hoped they would make good memories. She suggested Jay take care of the bike because the chain was messy since his uncle had passed it down to him. She said he should keep it in good shape. Harry explained it took some time to collect all the parts and that the last 7 front wheels Jay used ended up breaking. She added that carbon wheels weigh less than regular wheels, so the bike would be lighter. Still, she warned him that if a carbon wheel broke, it would ruin the whole wheel, so Jay shouldn't ride too wildly. She made it clear that just because it's made from carbon, it doesn't mean it can't be broken. Jay asked how much he would need for the parts and for repairs. Harry answered that the 7 wheels had just come from a forgotten corner so he could keep them. If Jay needed repairs, he could pay her back after winning the contest. She hoped they would win first place, especially for his uncle, after what happened with the doping case. By saying that, Harry showed she was aware that this was why Jay wanted to join. At the same time, Vinnie's friend told him not to keep living so messy. He mentioned that school was already out, it was night, and Vinnie shouldn't be sleeping all day. Vinnie opened an eye and asked about the time. His friend answered that it was already 8:40 p.m., and since Vinnie was alive, he should get up and do something. Because Vinnie didn't go to school or answer calls, his friend visited, worried, and found him sleeping. Vinnie's friend told him his mom had stopped by in the morning, leaving a note and some cash. There was 10,001 and Vinnie was not sure what to do with it. If he got cigarettes or food, the money would be used up fast. His friend also shared that the teacher warned if Vinnie missed more classes, he'd be kicked out. Vinnie was upset since he had to go to class the next day or be expelled, but he felt like just quitting. When Vinnie reached school, the staff member at the entrance did not welcome him warmly. This person was not known for kindness. His way of teaching was so rough that students liked school even less. He called students troublemakers and blamed kids like Vinnie for the poor state of the school. He warned clearly that Vinnie would be expelled if he messed up again, then muttered about Vinnie's odd hair color and called him strange. The staff member said he had no idea how Vinnie even got into the school. He thought Vinnie would never finish school and believed it was pointless to teach him. He even said he'd rather expel Vinnie right away, but just then Vinnie's best friend showed up and stood in front of the man. When a respected student appeared, the way the man talked changed right away. The friend just looked at the angry man and walked past him like nothing happened. He got close to Vinnie and asked if his friend was doing all right. Vinnie did not look happy. Everyone knew not to make eye contact with Vinnie or talk badly about him, or there could be problems. He had acted like this since he was a kid to look after himself. Coming up to the door, Vinnie said he wanted to talk to the person at the window who was watching him. Vinnie asked that guy to come over before he got angry. The boy by the window was sorry and said he had just looked by mistake and meant no trouble. Even so, Vinnie grabbed a chair as if planning to punish the boy. Vinnie didn't mind if the boy was sorry or not. He had to punish him so others wouldn't try to do it too. At the same time, somewhere else, the boys were still staring at the pretty blonde exchange student. She was on the phone asking her dad to send her bike because she wanted to ride it. While she happily chatted on the phone, Dom Kang was struggling with his own call. He was trying to call the man who sold him the bike, but now he didn't pick up. No matter how much he tried, he got no answer. He thought the man was ignoring all his calls and texts. Yuna, who was watching him, saw he kept looking at his phone with a serious look on his face now. At the same time, Mia wasn't focused on Yuna because she was drawing a hummingbird. Yuna asked about what Mia had been working on all that time. Mia said she was working really hard on her design. Yuna wanted to know if it was a logo and Mia answered yes, it was a logo for a hummingbird. Yuna said her brother and Jay had quickly finished eating and left. She asked Mia if she knew where they went. Mia replied she wasn't sure but had heard them talking about handing in a contest application. Mia didn't know her brother was signing up for a contest, but she felt that living together now would help him get better. Mia felt happy like she had drawn the perfect sketch. The only thing left was to show the boys and hear their opinions. At the same time, the boys left the post office after sending their application form. Jay wondered if he really had to come along just to send the form. Moo said they were on the same team so they should stick together. He asked if Jay just wanted to rest at school while he worked hard alone. Jay then told Moo to stop complaining and hurry because they were wasting time. Moo, who was hungry, said that before leaving he wanted to get some food. Jay told him he didn't want food and would just eat something by himself later. Moo saw that there was no middle ground with Jay. He was always very blunt. On the other side of the road, Moo saw a man with a very floral pink bike and thought it was odd. The man called his bike Sina and told her to wait while he went to enter his contest form. Then he locked it up so no one would take his precious bike. After covering the bike in kisses, he said he would be back soon. Just seeing the man made Moo uncomfortable. He believed the man was really strange. Moo and Jay left the man there because they needed to hurry back. They were only on a school break. But the man didn't like it when Moo called his bike stupid. Moo asked if the man was speaking to him. The man agreed and wanted to know why Minu had called his bike such a mean name. The man called Moo a useless person and said he couldn't give any random name to his superbike. The two boys thought the man's actions were very odd. They guessed he might be some kind of otaku. Very angry, the man shouted at Moo to take back his words about the bike. He was so mad that he grabbed Moo's collar and spit as he yelled. He kept talking, using strange words that only otakus would get. Moo looked at his friend for support, but Jay just said he should apologize and leave. Since his friend wouldn't help, Moo said he took it back and only talked that way because the bike looked very nice. The cyclist told him not to stare at her again because he was just a little useless. The man then leaned down and picked up his race form, showing them that his team's name was Manga Team. Moo realized that the otaku would also join the street league. The man said they could call her Senachin because that was her real name. Like her owner, the bike was also very special and had an odd name. The boys didn't see how someone so weird could exist. They rode fast back to school as they were only away for a short break. On the way back, they both kept thinking about how strange that otaku was. Jay told Moo the bike was probably his girlfriend, which was why Moo made him so mad. Moo glanced at Jay and couldn't tell if he meant it or not since Jay's face did not change. The man rode past them and called the two slow school kids. The passing cyclist hoped they would enjoy looking at his bike from behind, saying it looked really nice. Moo had no idea who this person was or why he acted so proud, especially riding a regular bike. To handle his trouble, Dom Kang called his father's men and told them he got caught in a scam. This was not okay. Their gang had a good name and couldn't look foolish, especially since Dom Kang was the one who told them to buy online. One henchman told Dom Kang to finish his class normally and promised to take care of it. The men then called another member to say that someone stole money from their young boss. With the scammer's phone number and bank details, they planned to find out who he was. He told the other guy to give the phone and bank info to a hacker to find the thief. The other member said it would be easy for their hackers, who had even gotten into a major Korean credit card firm. He said that once they knew where the scammer was, they should bring more men and some gear to scare him. Dom Kang felt truly bad about being tricked by an online scam. He just wished he could find the person and meet face to face. Dom Kang's face turned sour as he thought this. When someone put a hand on his shoulder, he turned around looking so angry that he frightened a classmate who only wanted to tell him that Yuna was looking for him. Even though he was still annoyed and wondering what Yuna needed, seeing her always cheered Dom Kang up. Dom Kang tried to remain unhappy, but the moment he saw Yuna's eyes, he couldn't help himself, so he hurried over to see what she needed. Once close to Yuna, Dom Kang asked if there was anything he could do. He asked him why he looked so down that day. Yuna handed him a piece of gum to help him relax, telling him to worry less and eat something sweet to feel better. For Dom Kang, that gum felt amazing. It seemed like Yuna was blessing him with a gift. Dom Kang explained he felt bad just because she hadn't given him a little kiss. This made Yuna annoyed, so she softly touched Dom Kang's face before she hit him. At the same time, somewhere else, the scammer was happily riding his bike, wearing a helmet and eating snacks he had bought. He paid for them with cash he got by tricking someone with the usual cheap and new bike scam. The scammer was now enjoying treats thanks to the 50,001 paid by the foolish buyer. Heading to his place, the scammer felt thrilled about what he bought. He planned to sneak in carefully so the landlord wouldn't stop him for rent. The scammer believed he could get inside without being noticed and escape any payments, but as soon as he got home, something seemed strange. His door was broken and his own apartment had been entered. Thinking he had been robbed, the scammer rushed inside to check. But after going in, he saw several people in black suits, all holding tools, and they didn't look friendly at all. Remember, the scammer was just a student who liked biking. He couldn't figure out why they were so serious right then. Scared, he dropped his bag of snacks on the ground and asked who they were and why they were there. It was late at night. When the scammer came home and found those people there, they all wanted him to explain why he had tricked their young master. Now the scammer was stuck to a chair, unable to move, and his bike helmet was still on. One of Dom Kang's father's men was raging at the scammer, telling him that he had fooled the wrong person. The man warned the scammer that if he planned to cheat people, he must accept the results. The bodyguard for Dom Kang's father complained about coming to such a place and wasting his own time. The bodyguard told the scammer that even tied up in that chair, he would soon see their young master coming and the outcome wouldn't be cheap. In the end, the scammer had given himself serious trouble with that 50,001 con. As everyone stood around the scammer in the chair, the young master, Dom Kang, walked in and everyone greeted him respectfully. When Dom Kang entered, he looked extremely mad. He'd spent all day trying to hunt down the guy who scammed him. The scammer, who was sitting in the chair, looked at the young man before him and thought Dom Kang was just another student. He couldn't figure out why everyone listened to Dom Kang so easily. The scammer started shaking even more when Dom Kang, with his hands in his pockets, shifted as if about to take something out. But Dom Kang was only getting his favorite item, something he had kept since a very tough day. The scammer who rode the bike sat in the chair, already crying, waiting for something bad to come out of that pocket. The scammer was confused when Dom Kang's mood changed just because he pulled out only a caramel candy, which made the calm young master now seem surprised. The scammer was so shocked by this that he stopped crying. One of the men asked what they should do with the scammer, but Dom Kang just kept chewing since the candy that Yuna gave him tasted so good. Back with a serious look, Dom Kang stared at the scammer and asked where the bicycle he had bought from him was. One of the henchmen in the room pointed to the bike, and Dom Kang noticed it looked almost new. Walking over to the bike, Dom Kang spoke to it, saying he wasn't sure what was going on, but was very happy to see it in such good shape because he only spent 50,001 on it. Just then, the scammer, the real owner of the bike, if he hadn't been unable to move and talk, would probably have said something. The scammer's pain at having someone else near his bike could clearly be seen. Dom Kang's father's bodyguard thought something happened that day to make Dom Kang so cheerful. Dom Kang, pleased about the cheap price he paid, told the scammer that since he said he wasn't going to ride anymore, he didn't need the helmet. Happy with both the bike and the helmet, Dom Kang said he had taken the bike so the scammer could now leave. The bodyguard felt a little let down by his boss. Meanwhile, the scammer who rode the bike was now crying, not out of fear, but out of sadness because he lost his bike. The head henchman told the scammer he was really lucky, then told his people to let him go. A while later, the man was found standing up in soft dirt as if he had been placed there. He was not by himself. Some cats gathered around him wanting to play. At Jay's house, Moo wanted to use the computer for some time, but Jay wouldn't let him because Jay wanted to join an online class. At that moment, Moo heard some sounds from the window and asked if Jay also heard the noise outside. Since he had a stuffy nose from his cold, Jay answered it was just a cat or something like that. Since the answer was not enough, Moo opened the window to check what was happening. He saw Dom Kang looking very happy with his new bike, showing it off proudly. Moo was also happy for his friend's new bike. As soon as bikes were mentioned, Jay got interested and hurried to see out the window. A few minutes later, all three were standing outside Jay's house looking at the bike. Moo grabbed the chance to try it himself. But while Moo rode the bike, he felt like he had seen it before somewhere in the neighborhood, though he couldn't remember where. Looking over at Dom Kang, Moo wanted to know if the bike was pricey and how much he paid. Feeling proud, Dom Kang said he managed to lower the price to just 50,001 when buying it from a used goods website. When Moo and Jay looked surprised and couldn't believe him, Dom Kang asked if the price was too high, so Minu and Jay checked the bike again. Noticing the bike looked great, they asked Dom Kang what he did to the bike's previous owner to get it so cheap. Dom Kang just repeated what the scammer told him, that he didn't use it anymore, so he sold it cheaply. Jay, whose grades had dropped a lot, wanted to leave Minu and Dom Kang outside to go back in and study. Now that Dom Kang had a bike but didn't know how to ride it, he asked his friends for help. Moo told Dom Kang he should practice skidding, which would make riding a single-gear bike easier. But by looking at Dom Kang's face, Moo realized his friend had never heard of skidding. Getting excited, Moo explained that skidding is a move where you use your legs to stop the back wheel on a single-gear bike. Even after hearing the explanation, Dom Kang still looked confused, so Moo decided to show him and said Dom Kang should just watch and copy. Moo quickly did the skid trick so Dom Kang could see. Dom Kang watched with confidence, thinking he learned enough just by looking and wanted to try it himself. At first, Dom Kang had trouble placing his feet the right way. One of his friends said this might not be his thing. Still, Dom Kang kept going, determined to find a way to do it right. Dom Kang spent some time struggling to put his foot in the right spot and finally tried to start riding, a bit clumsily. After only a few turns of the pedals, Dom Kang was tired. Then he decided to try going downhill without brakes. Minu suggested Dom Kang try skidding as shown before. Dom Kang realized was nearly about to lose control of the bike. Knowing he couldn't let go, he tried pedaling backward. He shouted that this wasn't working at all. The pedals were turning too quickly for him to stop. Dom Kang sped downhill screaming he couldn't stop. His legs were moving on their own. After the crash, Moo understood his friend was not very fit. Mu decided it would be smart for all of them to visit a shop the next day and get Dom Kang's bike brakes fixed. Hide another day spots started at Sunny High, with students getting ready for another long study day. A group of girls kept talking about how they looked and put on makeup to hide spots. At the same time, some students chose to be more daring by skateboarding around the campus. Some girls in a group said they wished Mu would one day notice how they felt. A skateboarder raced past the girls and the wind raised their skirts a little. The boy riding fast looked very pleased because he saw two underwear colors, pink and white. But the three girls were not happy about what he was doing. They got even angrier when they found out the wind lifting their skirts was done on purpose. The orange-haired boy was purposely trying to see the girls' underwear. This made him very pleased. He noticed that most of the girls had white underwear, which he thought must be the style. Then he saw the girl he was most interested in, Shell, the blonde exchange student. She was with the group, being friendly like only she could. This made the orange-haired boy even more curious about the blonde girl. Doing difficult tricks on his skateboard, he looked more excited than usual. The orange-haired skateboarder fixed his hair, knowing it was his favorite feature and always got him attention. Feeling as confident as always, he decided it was finally time to go talk to the girl who made him so happy. But he couldn't do it. Some girls who disliked his skateboard tricks came up to him and trapped him. They were even more mad when they found out the wind lifting their skirts was on purpose. One girl lightly punched his stomach as if being affectionate. The others then stomped their feet on him, all pretending it was meant to show him love. Meanwhile, some in the other group standing around Michelle were looking at the logo Mia had drawn. Mia had been given the job of designing the logo to impress Jay. Mia lifted her notebook to show her work to everyone and asked their opinion. Mu, always polite, held Mia's hands and said the logo looked great. He said that with this logo, the team could now win. Yuna, who understood her brother well, told Mu not to use that as a reason to keep holding Mia's hands. Mu was embarrassed because the way Yuna said it made him sound odd. Shell moved closer to get a better look at Mia's logo and told her she drew very well, then asked to see it up close. Mia, still not happy with Chell for kissing Jay, would not let Chell look closely at the logo. Chell saw that Mia wasn't being friendly and wasn't helping, so she asked what problem Mia had with her. The air became so tense that even Minu, who usually missed things, noticed the two girls were not getting along. However, Mu was very happy because they now had just the right logo for the team. That argument made things feel a bit different. Minu then asked Jay if he liked the logo too, since Jay hadn't shown any emotions. In a steady, serious voice without even looking at the design, Jay said yes. Mia felt pleased and told Jay she was happy he liked it since she made the logo for him. From far away, Yuna saw Dom Kang walking unsteadily and looking confused. She wondered what sort of trouble he had gotten into this time. Dom Kang could hardly walk. He had to hold onto desks and chairs to get to his team. Everyone could see he was having trouble moving and wondered if he had gotten into a fight or if someone hurt him. Dom Kang tried to look happy, but he was clearly tired and explained he had practiced skidding late into the previous night. Now Dom Kang had decided he would buy brakes after class because he was afraid to ride his bike, thinking it was too risky without them. Mu, worried about the bike's safety, asked Dom Kang where the bike was and if he remembered to lock it. Though clearly hurting but grinning, Dom Kang told Mu not to stress, saying his bike would never get stolen. Just outside the school's hallway, Dom Kang had tied his bike to a Rottweiler, attracting lots of attention. Everyone passing by admired the bike, saying its look and color fit really well together. But each time someone got close, they encountered the big Rottweiler who was ready to protect it. Nervous, reason for all the making them fuss, and was the one who had wonder who thought to make the Rottweiler came up with guard his bike, tying a Rottweiler to a bike. In class, reason for all the making them fuss, and was the one who had wonder who thought to make the Rottweiler came up with guard his bike. Dom Kang's odd actions made Jay uneasy, and even after knowing him for a long time, Jay couldn't figure him out. On days when Dom Kang showed no reaction, Jay still couldn't hide his own feelings in strange situations like this. Mia didn't care about Dom Kang's bike or the dog. Instead, she asked Jay if he could teach her biking over the weekend. Her friend Yuna, determined not to let Jay get out of it, reminded him that Mia worked hard researching to make the team's logo. So as a way of saying thanks, Jay should teach her to bike that weekend. Jay calmly replied he would. Mia was happy to hear he would help her learn to bike that weekend. But the blonde exchange student Chell told Mia to stop because Chell said she wouldn't lend Jay. Mia asked what Chell meant, adding that Chell didn't control Jay. Chell didn't care. She already had plans for the weekend and wanted to go out too. Dom Kang, thrilled, said he would join too because he wanted to practice as well. Mu, wanting to keep Jay from being alone with the girls, said he would also join the training that weekend. Yuna just watched and called the boys silly. He didn't notice that Mia was actually setting this up just to spend time alone with Jay. Mu looked at June, thinking of inviting him, but realized June must be busy studying for college entrance exams. But in truth, June was very focused on his phone, checking out possible rivals. In sports, being smart wasn't just about talent but also about knowing other competitors. June noticed one athlete who stood out, riding a 5-speed bike. Right now, this athlete was training in the same city to prepare for the same championship as their team. The athlete was reaching speeds from 89 km/h to 92 km/h, but sometimes managed to hit 97 km/h in practice. Since he trained on downhill tracks, a car always followed him and filmed him the whole time. These practice sessions were broadcast live so that everyone could see the athlete's skill. In his latest practice, the athlete managed to hit an amazing speed of 102 kilo. This outcome made June nervous because he had never heard of any athlete going that fast. At the bike store, Dom Kang, wanting to avoid more problems with his bike, brought it to have brakes put on. Harry finished fixing the bike and attached front brakes for extra safety. Dom Kang was very happy because he could now ride his bike without worry. Jay was the one who told Dom Kang about the store, but he didn't know the girl from the webcast managed the place. Moo asked the pretty mechanic if she was also the person from the webcast and the owner of the shop. She said the live streams were just something she did for fun and that her main job was working at the store that her dad owned. Harry then questioned them about the next competition and wondered why they weren't practicing or working out. Moo, sure that Jay would do everything perfectly, said that having Jay on the team meant they would win for sure, but June cut in, as he had been watching the race competitors and looking at their rankings. He told them that if they didn't get serious, they might not even pass the first round in the race. June being there made things a bit uneasy. Moo wanted to know if June visited the place often. Jung quickly said yes and mentioned that on that day he came for regular bike care and needed a new tire. Dom Kang was happy to see many of his friends all together. He felt like it was their hangout spot. Moo showed worry about Jun using time to research others, especially since entrance tests were coming up. Still, June wanted to share what he had found about the other competitors and how skilled they were. When June showed a video of a biker easily topping 100 km/h, everyone was shocked. They couldn't believe a bicycle could reach such speeds. Harry, who was in charge of the shop and knew a lot about bikes, said that getting to that speed with a 5-1 gear was mostly because a car was in front, cutting the wind. In those situations, any top biker could reach 100 km/h. She also said the new Guinness World Record for bike speed was now over 200 km/h. Moo commented that it looked like human abilities had no limit. He then asked June who that cyclist was. After looking it up, June said he was called Monster 13. It seemed he used to be a famous high school football player in America. As quarterback with the number 13, he led his squad and was named the Beast of Football because he could nearly win games by himself. But one day he hurt himself during a game and couldn't run well anymore because of constant pain in his knee. He stopped playing football, and after ending his dream of joining the US team, he went back to Korea. He started to spend his time riding bikes to help his knee heal. For him, cycling over and over worked as deep rehab. His passion for biking turned him into a real monster on the bike. Now he had made the monster team and they were going to join the competition. Many people thought he was likely to win. June pointed out that street riders and those who race had different muscles and different body shapes. He said that though the athletes' bodies were built right for track races and could easily handle a 5-1 gear, it was silly to think they could just beat Monster 13 by only talking as friends. Moo, unhappy, said there was no way they could do well in a competition if someone like that took part. Dom Kang couldn't say much since he had only just bought his bike. After seeing their disappointment about not being strong enough, Harry suggested they try the training rollers. She asked them to come along so she could show them the place and tell them how the rollers worked. When Harry took them to the roller and bike training room, they were surprised because they had never seen something so well prepared. She said that team members sometimes came here to train. The rollers were useful for getting better at pedaling and checking different training conditions. She added that practicing in this space made it easy to figure out the best posture and riding style for everyone. Dom Kang, even though he was new, thought the setup was cool and wanted to be first to give it a try. But right when he put his bike on the roller, he had trouble right away. That alone made him upset. When Dom Kang finally managed to start pedaling, it showed how much work it was for him just to move the pedals. He moved from side to side, and the loud sound made it clear he couldn't handle it well. He never thought bike rollers could be this tricky, or that it would take so much strength. At one point, Demang complained about the difficulty since his bike was shaking a lot from side to side. The shop manager gently explained this was happening because he was holding the handlebars and tensing his shoulders too much. She told him to relax his grip and it would get easier to control. Even though she gave him advice, he still found it hard. It seemed simple when she spoke, but much harder to do. As Dom Kang kept complaining, he saw Jay next to him riding easily on the roller like he'd been doing it forever. Dom Kang asked Jay how he was so skilled at it. Jay said his secret was lots of training since he was a kid with his uncle, who joined in, saying Jay seemed to be good at everything he tried. He thought that was very unfair. June grinned and said Jay was awesome, which is why he was the best on the team. The mechanic noticed that Jay's upper body stayed still and his pedal strokes were very clean. He looked great. Anyone could step on pedals, but making everything flow smoothly like Jay did used a lot of training. Harry, as she watched, could see Jay truly was the nephew of the great Mahanjo and very naturally talented in cycling. The pretty mechanic told them she had another customer needing help but told them to use the practice rollers anytime. Once they felt good at pedaling, they should try practicing outside on the streets. After many tries, Dom Kang was left tired and annoyed with himself. It was way more difficult than he thought. Mu was tired too and soaked with sweat. Even if he had an easier time than Dom Kang, he still got tired fast. When Mu saw how easy Jay made it look, he first thought you just had to sit and pedal the bike. But now Mu knew there was much more to learn. He didn't even know yet how to do a skid and had a lot he needed to work on. Even though he was so worn out, Dom Kang was already planning to ride again tomorrow. Wanting to impress Yuna, Mu asked Dom Kang what he saw in his sister because Mu himself didn't find her pretty and thought she looked like a scruffy cow. Dom Kang did not like being talked to like that and said his beloved looked nothing like a boy. Mu wondered why only strange people seemed to like his sister. This really confused him. This news surprised Demang a lot. He never thought his beloved was Mu's sister. Mu thought his response was odd since they were twins. Up until now, Dom Kang hadn't realized it. But Dom Kang got very excited and would not believe it was true. He was sure there was another answer. He did not see how they could be siblings since they did not look the same. Maybe they looked a bit alike, but not much. Mu wanted to know if Dom Kang never noticed any link between him and Yuna until now. Suddenly, Dom Kang started to behave oddly. He jumped in front of Mu and surprised him. Mu then asked what he wanted. Right then, Dom Kang called Mu brother. Mu felt embarrassed and bothered by how strange his friend was acting. Things were so weird that even the other two who were pedaling stopped to look at them. Jay, who always studied, also stopped both pedaling and reading just to find out what was going on. At the same time, in another place, Mia was drying her hair after a shower and felt happy. She looked at her bike and thought about how Jay said he would teach her to ride it. She saw this as the perfect time to spend more time together and hoped she would be able to ride right the next day so she could make him happy. The day Mia waited and looked forward to finally came. She met Jay at the park where he would teach her how to ride her bike. Mia and Shell were sitting on a bench, both looking as if they were waiting for something. Dom Kang walked over to them, bringing a bag with yogurts to try to make them happy. He let them pick whatever flavor they liked. One of them chose strawberry, while the other picked a classic flavor. Shelley, being her usual defiant self, just glanced at the lid, tossed it without licking. That annoyed Dom Kang, who wished he could have licked it. He said she should have licked the lid before throwing it away and asked if she did not know the right way to eat yogurt. Shelley just ignored him and still would not lick the lid. Dom Kang, though, eagerly licked his own yogurt lid. He said that you need to lick the lid that way before throwing it out. Shelley found it gross. Dom Kang licked his lid so cleanly that it shone, which made her feel even more disgusted. Because of her reaction, he said that was the normal way to eat yogurt. Mia tried to make him feel better by admitting she did it the same way. Yuna arrived along with the boys and saw there were already people talking to Mia. Her brother walked past her like always and messed up her hair to tease her, since he knew she hated it. Jay, always polite, didn't notice at all. Yuna also didn't pay any attention to Jay. Mu, just as lively as usual, showed up making jokes with the girls who were waiting for Dom Kang. Mia got up and waved, hoping Jay would see her. Shelley also wanted to be noticed but stayed seated. Dom Kang, both courteous and full of fun, stood up, bowed, and said hello to the new arrivals. He wanted very much to show Yuna his cycling progress. He said he had practiced all night just to let her see what he had learned. But the young woman asked him not to try so hard to impress her. Even though he said he had trained, she expected nothing. Dom Kang really needed to surprise his favorite girl some way. With that on his mind, he tried a trick to win her over. At first, everything seemed fine. He went full out, looking like someone experienced at biking. He showed everyone his special skid move, and had already perfected a new way to hurt himself. He ran out of both luck and skill, messing up the long skid. Because he wasn't good enough, he accidentally hurt himself below the waist. After a sharp pain, Dom Kang couldn't take it anymore. He jumped off his bike fast and rolled on the ground like a little kid. Seeing this, Yuna said his practice really paid off now that he could do funny bike shows. As she went over to him, she told him he didn't need to do so much just to get her to laugh. Just being himself was all he had to do. Not caring about the mess, Mia only watched Jay. Mia walked up to him, wondering if her bike seat was too high. Jay, looking focused, said if the seat was too low, it would be tough to pedal and not good for her joints. Mia agreed, saying she would try his suggestion. She sweetly reminded Jay to hold onto her seat so she wouldn't fall. Not wanting to touch Mia, he told her that he was holding onto the seat tightly and they could start. Mu, standing close by and having fun, suggested to Shelley that they find something else to do. The blonde didn't agree, and even if she was bothered, Shelley wanted to stay. Mia was always anxious. She kept asking Jay not to let her go. Jay told her she shouldn't be afraid and should start pedaling, saying he was doing all the work while she was just sitting there. He told her that stiff shoulders would make her lose control, and she should keep her upper body loose. Mia really didn't know how to bike. She kept shaking, pedaling strangely, and always fell against Jay whenever she lost her balance. Center and not, she kept stiffen up harder for him. Pretending to be shy but wanting his attention, she agreed to try once more. As time passed, Shelley felt more and more annoyed. Jay wasn't giving her any attention. At last, she lost her patience and whispered that she'd had enough. Minu saw Shelley stomp up to Mia and tell her to stop hitting on Jay. Even though Minu looked straight ahead, he was thinking about his childhood. He remembered how he used to ride bikes with his sisters, especially the time when he taught the youngest to ride. He recalled Yuna joking that their dad only got the bike so Minu would watch them. The teasing didn't bother him because he liked biking with them. He thought about one day when a very skilled boy rode by them, ignoring their group. His youngest sister was very impressed by how well the boy could ride. That brief moment pushed Mu to practice hard to be as skilled as the stranger. At that time, his youngest sister excitedly wanted them all to chase the boy. Mu told his sisters to hold on, then rode the bike as fast as he could. Thinking of those special times with his sisters made Minu feel peaceful and at ease. Back in the present, Shell went up to Jay and asked if he'd teach her to ride, saying she couldn't remember how. Feeling awkward, Jay pointedly mentioned he'd heard her brag before about being great at cycling. Annoyed, Mia told Shell to stop flirting with Jay so he could keep helping her. Shell wasn't ready to give in and asked if Mia was there to learn or just to spend all day touching him. Hurt, Mia wanted to know when she ever did that. She said she barely even touched Jay, insisted she wasn't being inappropriate and told Shell to quit lying. Because his friend seemed embarrassed, Mu stepped in to calm things down. He proposed that they swap partners. Mu would teach Mia and Jay would sit and rest with Shell. Jay felt much better as his friend helped him out. No longer paying attention to the girls' argument and glad to have Jay nearby, Shelley put her sunglasses on Jay to see how he looked. Then she took his glasses, tried them on, and asked what he thought. The strong prescription made her dizzy, so she took them off quickly. Jay, not amused, handed her sunglasses back and asked firmly for his own glasses. Shelley refused and said she wouldn't return them. Watching them from a distance, Mia felt very disappointed. She thought Jay looked much happier with Shelley than he'd ever been with her. Noticing she looked upset, Mu asked if she disliked learning from him. The sad girl quietly said it wasn't about him. But Mu's sister, Yuna, stood behind them and didn't like where their chat was going. Annoyed, Yuna asked her brother why he was teaching Mia instead of Jay. Mu replied that Jay was tired, so they had switched. Yuna, grinding her teeth, firmly warned her brother not to do anything strange with her friend. Before Mu could say anything, Dom Kang showed up, saluted Mu as the boss, and excitedly said he would take care of Yuna so Mu could enjoy himself. Mu told Dom to stop calling him that, saying it felt odd. Dom ignored him, only focusing on Mu's sister. Then he suggested Mu have fun with Mia. Yuna, unhappy, told Dom it was weird and confusing and said he shouldn't call her brother boss. Dom, trying to be friendly, explained that he did that because he felt like family already. Once again showing fondness, Yuna gently grabbed Dom's neck, ready to softly pat his face with a light punch. At the same time, Mia had to work with a new cycling coach. Eventually, Mia found that she wasn't good at cycling, which made her upset. Mu kindly tried to say that cycling wasn't about talent, but about trying your best. He told her it was her fear of falling that was stopping her from moving forward. Mia, with her head lowered and quiet, seemed to agree with her new coach. Mu went on, repeating it wasn't about having talent. Her problem was her shyness. If she stayed so scared, she would stay in the same place and might never become a cyclist. Mia looked down, remembering how she used to get bullied at school. He was always teased by classmates who made rude jokes. Mia kept silent and never told anyone she was upset so she wouldn't make her friends feel uneasy. These old memories only made Mia feel worse. Mu told her to keep at it, warning that giving up this easily could let fear control her in the future. Putting his hand on her helmet, Mu said she shouldn't be scared to fall. No matter what she does, she should believe in herself. Everything is scary at first, but when you do it, it's not so hard anymore. Mu's words made Mia feel better and she wished she could be brave enough to go on. She didn't want the fear of falling to stop her from becoming a cyclist and riding with Jay. Mu felt glad that Mia wanted to keep trying. He would not stop teaching her. As Mia did her best to balance, Mu held the bike to help her. Mu cheered her on, telling Mia she was almost there. With just a bit more effort, she would do well. Mu told Mia not to look at the ground but to keep her eyes ahead and pedal with belief. Now focused on her goal, Mia was making progress. Even though she was still a little scared, she felt better with Mu there to help. Feeling pleased, Mu thought she had figured it out, but he reminded her not to stop pedaling and to keep going. Mia said she would keep going but asked Mu to hold her a bit longer. But when Mia said this and looked back without hearing a reply, she saw Mu was already a little far away. Mu motivated her to keep trying, and her effort was paying off because everyone was impressed with her. Yuna felt good seeing her friend do well. Dom Kang saw that Mia was handling everything herself. Shelley, feeling a little jealous, wondered why riding a bike was special since everyone could do it. The way Jay looked at Shell, showing dislike and disappointment, was really harsh. He stayed silent but didn't have to say anything. On the other hand, Mu felt good about how well he had taught Mia. She was doing well because he was a great teacher. Mia really seemed to have learned it. Now she could ride on her own without help. This made Mia feel very happy. She had improved by herself. When Mia came back to the group with her bike, Mu told her she could now ride a bike. He said it wasn't too difficult for her to learn. Now that Mia could ride, they could all go together. Mia was glad Mu appreciated her good work and his kindness in teaching her. Jay once more looked at Mu and Mia enjoying themselves and gave them a sharp look as a warning. Jay, looking even less pleased, told them they seemed very happy and said he was going. Moo didn't get why Jay acted like that. That sudden reaction made little sense. Jay's mood made everyone leave and split up. But what Moo had wanted was for everyone to stay and have a ride together. Mia also felt down because now that she had learned and was able to join, Jay wanted to leave first. Yuna said it was too bad, but since all the others were leaving, they should go as well. Mia, happy with her new skill, told them it was fun but that she had to head off too. Yuna looked around and saw that Dom Kang hadn't spoken a word. She asked if he was staying and Dom Kang answered that he'd walk her home. Yuna thanked him and said she would take a taxi. Dom Kang then said again that he would stay with her until she got into a taxi. Yuna started walking ahead with Dom Kang following behind and watching out. After a bit, Dom Kang felt really tired. He asked Yuna to watch the bike because he wanted to go into a shop and get a drink. Dom Kang said he would get himself something and asked Yuna if she wanted anything. She only wanted him to stop coming after her because she found it very bothersome. A few boys came by unhappy because they missed out on something. One just wanted to go home quietly. Another said he would return soon because he was just heading to the convenience store, leaving 3 behind. They were annoyed since their school was the only one in the neighborhood that made them study on weekends. While waiting for their friend, one of the boys saw Yuna across the street alone, standing with a bike. He told his friends that the girl looked good. One friend asked if he was going to try asking her out. With a smile, he told them to wait and said he was going to cross the street to talk to her. Yuna, upset, played with her phone and wondered why Dom was taking so long to come back from the store. Suddenly, someone came up and called for her attention. When she looked up, she saw the guy. He told her she was pretty and asked for her number. Yuna just acted like he wasn't there and totally ignored him. The guy, not noticing her reaction, kept on asking for her number and wanted her to add him online. Feeling more frustrated, Yuna looked at him and told him she was not interested and asked him to leave her alone. He, though, really didn't like being turned down by her. The friends across the street noticed when Yuna told him to leave her alone. Finding it funny, they started to take pictures of what was happening. Now angry, the guy yelled at Yuna to say again what she had just said. He said there was nothing wrong with asking for girl's number. He said she should stop acting perfect because she was just a regular girl. Very angry, he kept yelling rude words and called her many mean names. But that was not the end of the situation. Someone soon showed up and gave the guy a lesson so he would behave better. This insulted Yuna just because she was so wooden effective that the give him her friends across the phone street number had now stared as if they were learned his frozen lesson. Dom Kang was the one who gave the lesson, showing the guy that he shouldn't treat people like that. Dom took off his cap and showed a very serious look, letting everyone know he would not let anyone mistreat Yuna. The bully from before was laying on the ground after getting the strong lesson. The friends across the street, not really sure what had happened, were already mad and blamed Yuna for everything. Yuna saw their looks and began to shake, worried that things would get worse, especially since Dom Kang didn't look happy and wouldn't mind teaching the other two a lesson too. One of the guys from the other side stared at Dom and thought Dom should be scared since they were 2 people against 1. Dom Kang moved so fast they didn't even notice he was already teaching him a lesson. That guy needed to learn to respect women. Dom Kang was there to make sure this behavior was corrected and taught the guy a lesson. Slowly, the guy started to see he shouldn't bother girls who didn't want to talk. Dom was used to standing up for his precious Yuna. Yuna, though, shouted at Dom to stop, not wanting him to get into any trouble. Still, Dom went on teaching the guy more because he had very bad manners. Then Dom looked at the next guy as there were 3 total and he had only taught 2 of them by now. The third guy, shaking and sweating, knew his turn to learn might come next. That was when Yuna begged Dom once more to stop. He was scared they could get into more trouble. Yuna and Dom Kang walked back quietly. She was still upset because he had fought and he was bothered that he couldn't control himself. After a while, Yuna said she would take a taxi home from there. Dom asked if she was upset only because he had handled the situation earlier. Yuna said yes, telling him again that she had already warned him about not going around punishing people. Dom asked if she wanted him to just sit back and watch the guy being rude. Yuna answered that he didn't have to react so harshly when teaching people a lesson. Annoyed, Dom asked if she truly thought it would have been better to not do anything. If she wanted, he would have just watched them instead. Yuna was quiet for a while. She understood she was at fault, but she didn't want Dom to step into her affairs. It was then that Dom Kang told Yuna that because she grew up like a princess, she probably thought of him as anyone else. Walking away from Yuna, Dom said he really hoped she would get home safely. The convenience store guy who had fled and left behind his bag was on the phone. He looked like he was calling for backup, telling 3 friends what had happened. Things started to get worse as he told a close friend about the incident. But these friends were Vinnie's friends, and he was known for causing problems and starting fights. The guy on the phone said he got it and told them they would do something. Vinnie's best friend started telling Vinnie what was going on. Some guys were causing problems for his friends. Vinnie didn't like what he heard, put out his cigarette and decided to see for himself. The guy who made the call quickly went back to his 3 friends on the bench. All of them looked bothered and upset after getting disciplined. They thought it was unfair they got in trouble like that. The only one who wasn't punished told them they shouldn't have bothered the girls. He said the only reason he was okay was because one of the girls kicked him. The person who started it all called him a coward for escaping. The troublemaker then wondered why Vinnie and Sun had to be called now. He added that it would be embarrassing if others learned that just one person had disciplined the three of them. At that moment, Vinnie showed up and told the troublemaker to take his hands off the boy. The guy was surprised and slipped to the ground. Sitting on the ground, the troublemaker looked up and saw that it was Vinnie's strong voice that made him fall. Vinnie wanted to know where the boy was and kept asking the troublemaker on the ground. The boy said that when he woke up, the other person was already gone. Vinnie then told the boy not to go around claiming they attended the same school because it was embarrassing. Sun decided the person who scolded them was just another student. One of the three who had also been put down said he wasn't sure but remembered someone with long hair and a band-aid underneath their nose. Except for the long hair and the band-aid, they could not recall anything else. But one of them had something helpful. When the boy tried talking to the girl, one of his friends, thinking it was funny, snapped a photo so they had a picture. They guessed the girl with the bike was his girlfriend. Still, the quality of the picture was bad, so it was hard to see anyone clearly. Sun wondered what use the girl's photo would be. The boy in the photo who got turned down by the girl was annoyed that someone had snapped pictures of him. Vinnie, after looking at the picture with the bike, thought he could use it to find out more. Vinnie told Sun to send him the picture, saying he had an idea. When the picture was on his phone, Vinnie chose to call an old friend. His friend was training on a treadmill with his bike, trying to reach faster speeds. When the friend heard the phone, he quickly grumbled that he did not like being interrupted while training. He paused his exercise for a second, wiped away sweat, and answered the call. When he saw Vinnie's name, he got annoyed. Still, Vinnie told him to stop talking and check the photo. Vinnie then asked the friend to pay attention, saying that someone on his team might use that bike. TJ replied he had never seen his teammates using a trail bike like that. TJ then asked why Vinnie sent him the picture. Vinnie said he was searching for a boy with long hair and a band-aid on his nose. TJ thought for a moment about who that could be. After thinking about the long hair and the band-aid, he thought of only one person. It turned out to be the friend of the student council president at Sunny School, and TJ quickly told Vinnie about it. Vinnie grew interested when he learned the boy was from Sunny School. TJ, after sharing whom the person was, felt quite proud of himself. The boy was a friend of student council president Jay, who TJ did not like because he lost to him before. TJ's face slowly changed and he started to laugh quietly to himself. While looking at the bike, TJ noticed he didn't know what was happening but felt better that Vinnie wasn't after him. The following day at school, Dom Kang walked into his classroom busy with his phone. Classmate called out to him as Mr. Tough Guy and asked if he wanted to bike on rollers together after school. But Dom Kang had to say no, explaining that he had to work that night. Moo looked clearly disappointed. Dom Kang, his friend, then suggested they could train alone later if he could take a break from work. Jay told Moo to stop coming into his classroom. Moo replied that the classroom didn't belong to Jay. The classroom, since he has said it, was for everyone know in the reason to school and made to be shared by all. Jay answered that he never went into other classrooms since he had no reason to. Their classmates started gossiping that the two were having another argument like a couple, which made the rumors they believed even stronger. Shell came up quickly to Jay and took a picture before he saw her. Jay got annoyed and asked her what she was doing. But then she wanted to tell her, showed him that she had already put the friends in selfie on her England profile a boy. She told him she needed a picture to show her friends he was her boyfriend, then asked if he agreed to it. Jay quickly said no, but then she showed him that she had already put the selfie on her profile. She showed the picture again and said it was too bad because it was posted online already. Mia walked into the classroom happy because she and her friend Yuna were planning to see a movie the next day. Yuna, as she walked in, looked at Dom Kang, who didn't seem happy to see her either. The two girls walked by each other without saying a lot. Even Dom Kang, who usually looked glad when seeing Yuna, didn't seem happy this time. Later on, to keep his mind off things, Dom said he was tired and wanted to nap just so nobody would question him. Moo noticed something was wrong. Neither Dom nor Yuna was speaking. Mia saw this too and asked Yuna if something had happened between her and Dom. Yuna was clearly sad, so Mia asked if they argued. Looking upset, Yuna answered, "It's nothing." She glanced at Dom sleeping on the desk and said, "We're not even close enough to argue." Outside, Dom's guard dog was watching his bike. When Dom showed up, the dog got really happy, even more so when hearing his name. Dom Kang had picked the name Jordan for his dog. He thanked Jordan for guarding him and the bike. Dom told Jordan that he would skip class and go home sooner. But as soon as Dom let Jordan off the leash, the dog ran off. Dom had to get his bike and ride after him. No matter how loudly Dom yelled Jordan's name, the dog wouldn't stop, which made many people watch him. After it was over, Dom tied Jordan to his backpack and carried the dog on his back. People stared at Dom biking with such a big dog on his back. Dom Kang told his friend Jordan, "Don't run away again, it's not safe and you could get hurt." When class ended, everyone was saying farewell. At the same time, the three boys from the incident the day before were watching, hoping to see someone come out of the school. Since they went to another school, they waited outside Sunny, looking for the boy. But the most daring one of the three did not find who he wanted. Instead, he noticed the girl he had tried to talk to before, standing far away. Yuna was walking alongside her friend Mia. Yuna looked really sad since Dom, who usually made her happy, had left class early. The troublesome boy smiled when he saw Yuna and told his friends. At that moment, Mia was trying to talk to Yuna about Dom, pointing out that he was acting differently that day. Mia wanted to know if Yuna could tell her what happened, but Yuna just said Dom had missed class before. Yuna told Mia not to worry and said Dom was probably okay. Mia answered that she hoped he was. Yuna stayed silent as she walked with Mia until the three boys came up to them. One of the boys asked Yuna if she remembered them. Mia, feeling scared, asked Yuna who they were. At the same time, at the WD club where Dom worked, he was using his free time to practice bike tricks. His bodyguards were timing him as Dom broke personal records, doing amazing tricks faster and faster. It was clear Dom really cared about cycling. He wanted to impress his friends and join a team. That's the reason Dom tried so hard. Dom was already getting used to doing the standing move, but it was still hard for him. Just then Dom's phone started to ring. He wondered who would be calling him at that moment. Dom got his phone from his pocket to check who was calling. It was Mia, and she sounded really scared. When Dom realized it was her, he quickly became worried. Mia was crying and shouting for Dom to help Yuna. The boys from before were bothering Yuna and Mia didn't know how to handle it. After hearing this, Dom's look changed completely. Dom's bodyguards also noticed that something was wrong. One bodyguard said it was time but got surprised when Dom just grabbed his bike. Dom raced away quickly, his face showing strong emotion. The bullies demanded that Yuna give them Dom's phone number. They said that trying to protect her boyfriend would not work because sooner or later they would find where Dom was. Yuna told the boys that they were the ones with problems, starting trouble first and now looking for Dom. She said that she would call the police if they did not stop annoying her. One boy answered with sarcasm, warning Yuna what might happen the next day if she really called the police. Mia was already very upset and had little experience dealing with this kind of situation. Quietly, Mia told Yuna she had already called Dom and that he was most likely coming soon. Yuna's eyes opened wide with shock. She didn't want Dom involved, especially since she saw who was there. Vinnie was like Trouble in human form. He didn't act like most people. Trouble always seemed to follow him wherever he went. And by the way Vinnie looked, he seemed to want trouble. He probably planned everything just to face Dom. Now Mia had made it easy for those bullies by giving Dom to them. When Dom's bodyguards saw him speed off after a strange phone call, they went after him right away, but a traffic light held them up. Jordan, Dom's loyal dog, was with them too and couldn't believe how fast Dom could ride that bike. At the same time, Dom's father called to find out what was going on. They told Dom's father that Dom rushed to his school right after getting a phone call and pedaled away quickly. Dom moved so fast that his cap even flew off on the way. As Dom Kang pedaled, many thoughts filled his mind at once. He needed to get there before anyone hurt Yuna. He felt even worse because they hadn't talked all day and he had to hurry. Old memories came to him while he was pedaling. He thought of when he looked really different, but his mustache had always made him stand out. He remembered working at a club's entrance and watching a man hold onto a girl. Dom Kang stepped in and told the man to let the girl go, but the man kept holding her arm and acted badly. Then another young man showed up and told the man that he was being rude, saying his father wouldn't like what he was doing. Right away, the man greeted the young man and said sorry, promising not to do it again. The girl looked quickly at Dom Kang and he looked back at her. That was when he first noticed Yuna and when she first saw him. On Dom Kang's first day at Sunny School, he still had crutches from what seemed like a broken leg. People around gossiped that he came from a rich family or knew someone powerful. While he stood there looking at his phone, Yuna came up and asked if he was the guy with the mustache at the club. That's when they found out they would be in the same class. She asked how he dared to show up like that at school and told him to stop dyeing his hair and wear proper clothes. Dom Kang asked how she could tell him what to do. She continued to stare at him, annoyed. Dom Kang stood up then and asked her for a second. He secretly asked her not to tell the classmates or the teacher about what happened the day before. He said it was about his mustache and club work which should stay hidden. Dom Kang wanted to know why she cared to say such things about him. Yuna gave him a mean look and said if he was that afraid, he should act like a normal student and not like a thug. Dom Kang told her to leave him alone with this useless talk, thinking she had a lot of attitude issues. Dom Kang watched as Mia and Yuna met again after going to elementary school together. They talked with each other in front of him like he wasn't there. He thought maybe he should have acted as if he hadn't seen her before. Why did he have to go to the same school as her? Only 1 year was left before college entrance exams and they could celebrate a lot then. That was what some boys coming his way were saying. But as they walked past Dom Kang, they glared at him and said rude things about him. He acted like he didn't notice, but then they shouted at him, asking if he was a freshman and how he could dare look at his seniors like that. Dom Kang quickly said he was only looking forward and couldn't help it if they were there. Since they were older, they wouldn't let a guy with an ugly face stand up to them. One of them told Dom Kang he should quit acting so smart. Dom Kang wasn't scared at all and just kept looking at the boy. The boy tried to rush at him and throw a punch, but Dom Kang just stepped away. But because Dom Kang was hurt, one of them knocked out his crutch, making him fall over. over. Then they started kicking Dom Kang, demanding to know who he thought he was. They walked away, saying that kids today didn't respect anyone and warning him to stay away from them if he didn't want more trouble. Dom Kang was surprised at first, but now things were different. He picked up his crutch from the floor. While the two boys were still talking badly about him and saying they would make all freshmen behave, Dom Kang showed up behind them. When one of them turned to look, it was already too late. The crutch was already closed to his face, and this was the moment Dom Kang taught them a lesson. He knocked out the two boys. Mia and her friend were walking by, they were chatting, and ahead they saw Dom Kang showing the boys how to behave. The two guys who caused trouble had already been taught not to misbehave. Yuna, when she saw Dom Kang handling both boys by himself with a crutch, was amazed. Dom Kang still stood near the boys who had tried to attack him, even though he was using crutches and had a hurt foot. In the principal's office, Dom Kang was being scolded because school rules said a first year could not get into a fight with third years. The principal told the teachers to go back to their rooms and watch the students instead of chatting. He also told them to make sure no one else learned about what happened because he wanted to protect the school's good name. The vice principal was unhappy because this problem happened while the principal was out of the country on business. He informed Dom Kang that his parents were coming to the school. There was a knock at the door. The secretary came in to inform them that Dom Kang's father had come. The vice principal told her to let them all enter. The secretary, who was shaking, tried to say something, but before she could finish, they walked in. Dom Kang's father and his bodyguards walked in, and his father said he was glad his son was going to such a good school. He took off his glasses, looking even scarier, then asked his son what he had done this time. When Dom Kang's father spoke to the vice principal looked so nervous that it seemed like he might disappear. Dom realized he was in serious trouble. He knew things could get even worse from here. Later, as Dom walked down the halls fine, the other students wondered why he wasn't kicked out. After using his crutches to punish two students, everybody began to avoid him and some started gossiping about him. Dom was annoyed that everyone kept talking about him like he wasn't there. He found a perfect, quiet, high-up spot to take a nap. He lay down on the ground, tired, and started to drift off. He suddenly woke up when someone told him to get up. Scared, Dom noticed that the person waking him up had even kicked him to make him get up faster. Annoyed, he asked who was mean enough to do that to him. Then he saw it was just the girl who usually bothered him. She looked at Dom and asked if he knew how much time she had spent looking for him around the school. Right away, Dom asked why she was searching for him so much. She said the teacher sent her to get him because the teacher wanted to talk to him. Dom lay back down and said he'd come later, but first he wanted to rest a little more because dealing with teachers was stressful. Peeking with one eye to check if she was gone, Dom noticed she was still sitting near him, busy with her phone. She looked at him and said she felt bad for him. How could a student color his hair, work at a club, and have time to control older students too? Why didn't he try being a good student for once? Dom Kang wanted to know why she cared so much and wouldn't leave him alone. She was really starting to annoy him now. They stayed on the rooftop for a while. She asked him what he would do after finishing school. Dom thought about a few ideas. He really wanted to know why she was asking him that, especially up there. She said everyone wanted to do something in life and guessed he did too. Dom answered that he liked music. She asked if he meant making music, writing songs, or singing. He explained that he didn't know for sure what he wanted to do with music. He just knew he wanted to work in it. She thought his answer was too simple since there were many choices. Dom said that music always made him feel better, either at the club or at home. That was when he decided he wanted to make good music too. Yuna told him that if he studied music, he could attend a university and earn a good degree. Dom Kang wondered if going to university was really needed to study music. Yuna answered that she didn't know of any rule making it required. But university was a place people attended to become experts in something they wanted as a career. Dom listened to her while lighting a cigarette. Still, Yuna told him absolutely not. Dom took the cigarette from his mouth. Yuna also said that no matter what, he should not use tobacco at school, especially there. Yuna told Dom that society wouldn't respect him if he didn't at least have a high school diploma. Dom tried to move the conversation somewhere else and asked what she wanted to do. Yuna said she didn't know at the moment. At this point, Dom found her answer tough to understand. Yuna said she studied hard whenever possible because she wanted to help her younger brother. She really didn't have a big plan for her future. Then Dom asked about her brother, but she stopped talking. It looked like she didn't like that topic. Yuna then said she was wasting her time with him, got up and told Dom to start acting better and go visit the teacher. Dom argued that she was only wasting her time because she kept starting conversations. Yuna thought it was good that Dom had a goal he wanted to follow. She wished his hopes would come true and said he would have all her support. She reminded him again to go see the teacher. From that moment, Dom began to see Yuna in a new way, especially when she said she backed him. He realized that no one before had ever wanted to help him reach his dreams. It was then that something grew in his chest as big as his wish to get better. It felt almost like a goal. The next school day, everyone was surprised by what they saw. They saw that Dom had changed his hair color. The boy was different now. He dyed his hair black, and instead of acting up, he was now helping clean. Dom saw someone wasting an eraser just to leave little pieces on the floor. He told the boy to stop because he wanted the floor to stay neat. Seeing the other boy ignore him, Dom looked at the drawing and at the bits from the eraser falling to the ground. Dom told the boy that if those bits fell on the ground, the boy would have to pick them all up himself. This made the boy uncomfortable. After this, Dom said that those bits made cleaning harder. Dom gave the boy a correction pen which didn't make so much of a mess as an eraser would. The boy, a bit surprised, said he would use it. When Dom got to the classroom, he noticed Yuna cleaning the windows. He saw she really wanted to help. That was when he walked up to her. He grabbed her hand, which had the cloth she was cleaning the window with, and told her that a man should do that kind of work. Yuna looked at him and asked why he was acting oddly, told old Dom to get down, to get down. His actions were making the teachers and school staff even more upset. Told old Dom to get down, warning him that it was risky. The other students also saw that Dom was behaving stranger every day. Even though his leg was injured, he went outside to clean the window and help Yuna. But Dom was ignoring everything they were saying. He just wanted to keep cleaning and show off for Yuna. Yuna felt afraid and believed that it was all because of her. After class ended, they walked home together. Yuna told Dom she had never met anyone as intense as him. Dom said he was worn out from putting so much effort into school. Yuna told him he could have a normal life and behave normally too, and there was no need to always push himself. Just then, Dom's stomach rumbled. Yuna asked if he wanted food and said she'd buy him something for all the hard work. What Dom understood was that Yuna was asking if he wanted to go out for dinner with her and that she would pay. Right away, Dom thought this had to be a date request. While he stood there lost in thought, Yuna was in front asking if he was coming. Dom said sorry for always daydreaming and asked Yuna what they would eat. When a boy bumped into Dom hard, Dom still said sorry even though it was clearly not his mistake. But the boy was not happy. He wanted to know how Dom planned to fix his uniform. These boys were obviously TJ's followers. Dom Kang asked why that should be his problem. Yuna quietly told Dom not to try anything or she would stop talking to him. She stepped in and told the boy that they would pay for the dry cleaning. Boy replied that was not enough. He wanted a new uniform, saying it would cost 300,001. Yuna asked for his bank details and said she'd send the money right away. At that moment, Dom told Yuna to stop and suggested the boy could have his limited edition shoes instead of cash. Dom explained how tough it was to get those sneakers from the rapper. He said they were rare Jordan V1 series shoes, rumored to have been worn by MJ himself and were in men's size. Dom said they'd surely like those sneakers more than money. One of the boys asked if the shoes were fake, but after looking carefully, the spots, stitching and logo made them seem real. Yuna didn't see what was special about the shoes and didn't really understand. The boys thought it was interesting and were pleased. The shoes looked really cool and would sell for a good price online. They planned to offer the shoes as a way to apologize for touching Yuna. Yuna was happy because Dom settled it without a fight. Then Dom told Yuna he wanted to finish high school without causing more problems. He said he had new reasons to leave the clan now. Yuna replied that it was fine and she would buy him whatever he wanted to eat. Dom said he wanted chicken, but then he picked up his phone and texted his bodyguards, letting them know what had happened. When they got the message, Dom's bodyguards quickly went after the boy who took Dom Kang's sneakers. The guys were going off, laughing that they should pick on more people to take stuff like they did that day. But just around the corner were Dom Kang's bodyguards. The boys stopped in fear when they saw them. The bodyguards told the boys to return the sneakers, saying nothing bad would happen if they did what they said. After the boys gave back the sneakers, a lot of noise and fuss followed. Soon, the boys were found crying and tied to a tree by their heads, probably from how upset they were. Dom Kang rode his bike away, thinking that he had gone against the promise he once made to Yuna. He pedaled as fast as he could, going past Minu and Jay on the way. But Dom did not even notice Mu and Jay since he was rushing to take care of the problem.